good evening again, South Metro weather fans. We are back on the live stream here, and yet another storm impacting our area. And I was just commenting to someone that this storm is essentially acting like someone punched its sister. I mean, it's just growling up there. And the strongest part of the storm isn't necessarily in our area, it's just to the north, really in the Grand Prairie area right now. But we have it starting to build southwestward, southeastward rather, and it continues to bring plenty of lightning to this area. The severe thunderstorm warning includes Midlothian here, Midlothian, Oakleaf, Ovilla, almost to Red Oak there. And what prompted that originally was a microburst that came from that storm, and that prompted, it created a little bit of an outflow boundary. Didn't do much, but if we zoom in on this a little, get a little closer here, and you can see the little bit of the outflow boundary that it created, not too much. There's also this activity off to the west in Johnson County. That hasn't really taken off and done too much yet. This is really the only storm that we have at this time. If we continue to, if we broaden this out a little bit, you can see what's kind of going on across the area. And we had this Severe Thunderstorm Watch that was issued, what, a couple hours ago? And I didn't catch it at first. I was cooking dinner for my family, and as soon as I knew that something was going on, hey, you know, I just, it didn't, somehow I didn't see, normally I get at the very least a Twitter notification. It's kind of an automated thing when watches or warnings or different kinds of alerts are issued. I didn't even see that. So I don't know how, but it definitely, you know, it's definitely one of those days where stuff just kind of pops up. And we've had plenty of those, right? We've had a lot of those lately. That really has defined almost the latter half of May and June at this point. So this is what we're looking at. This storm is not really moving very much. So the Grand Prairie area, you're probably looking at some flooding problems there. If we zoom back in on that, and I'm seeing some comments about velocity. We'll look at that too. I'm sure the way the winds are blowing, I'm sure the velocity looks really interesting. It's not showing any kind of rotation right now, but if we put this into motion, you will see that outflow boundary, those microburst winds moving outwards. So that's what you can see there, is those stronger winds in, again, the Mansfield to Grand Prairie area right now. So nothing rotating, nothing looking like any kind of tornadic activity or anything of that sort. And I know that you're probably looking back at the reflectivity. You probably see this notch here. That's really not indicative by itself of a tornado. You really need that velocity to show you some things too, and I'm just not seeing that at this time. What we are seeing is plenty of very heavy rain, and as I mentioned a moment ago, the anchor of this storm not moving much. I mean, it's just kind of been sitting here. What you are seeing is this storm spreading to the southeast, and so that has brought that into northern Ellis County here, from Oakleaf to Pecan Hill, over to Lancaster, DeSoto, Cedar Hill here. And so this storm is just going to continue on, and it's just sitting there. One question is, how long is this storm going to last? I really am not too sure. I mean, we still have a little bit of daylight, not a whole lot. So once we lose daytime heating, that will be one of those factors that generally powers these storms. And so we're continuing. Okay, hold on. There's a lot of Broderick sending a lot of questions. Let me see if I can catch up here. There's a long cloud flowing into this storm as well. Pretty sure it's a tall cloud. Broderick, without looking at it, I'm not entirely sure what you're referring to here. What you could be seeing is what's called a beaver tail. And what that is that can be a long path of clouds that's feeding into the storm. And really, that's really indicative of, again, that inflow that is, that a storm really, it breathes in, pulls in that humidity, that warm air, that unstable air, which is what's powering it right now. and then it breathes out, which is that cool air that, which is sometimes it gives you a pretty big breath of fresh air out, and that's when you get those microbursts. But storms, they breathe, they live and breathe. When they're breathing in, they're bringing in that warm, humid air. That's your updraft, and then it breathes out, and that is your cool outflow. And every now and then that outflow can get away from you, get ahead of it, and then that causes even more storms. So this is what we're seeing here, and that's one of those kind of analogies I've used with these kids sometimes at schools to help them understand how these storms work. So there are a ton of questions in the comments. I'm going to do my best to. Unfortunately, I don't have tacos right now. That would be wonderful. If somebody wants to play that gag and bring tacos to me, I will eat them on air. Watch. Probably too quickly. Let me go back and just look at this. I can see there's a lot of questions and things. Okay. Says rain's going to stop in 5 minutes on your phone. Watch me. Phone don't know nothing. The phone, if you're getting rain right now from this storm, I highly doubt 5 minutes is going to suddenly solve everything. These phones, they have no idea. They really, really don't know. Huge shelf cloud. Yeah, so I don't doubt there's a shelf cloud moving out of this. That's going to be your outflow. And it looks like, it's a little hard to see on the radar right now, but it looks like that outflow is just south of Midlothian, moving through Britain right now. So that's 360. That's where 360 hits 287. So that looks like that's where that is headed now. Now, you're also probably going to see a shelf cloud along this here, and that might be slowly but surely advancing southwestward. But yeah, I mean, there's going to be a lot of different kinds of storm structure, cloud structure out of this. And let me kind of reorient this map here. There's going to be a lot of different structure because there's so much motion going on in this storm right now. None of it appears to be rotation. I personally, at this, last I checked 3 minutes ago, I haven't seen any rotation in this storm, but there's definitely plenty of wind blowing around. So just don't be alarmed. I don't see any kind of rotation at this time. And something about yesterday, and we'll have to get back to that later because we got to live in the moment here. Getting back through these comments here. A lot of questions about when should this be over. I know everybody has things to do, and I would imagine this storm, a storm of this power, will probably be around for a while. I can't give you a number here, but as I mentioned, daytime heating is going away, so that should help, maybe. Sometimes these storms don't really care what the daytime heating does. It doesn't look like we have much of a hail threat from this at this time. We're mostly looking at, there's a little bit of gray there, so you're probably seeing some hail, especially west of Cedar Hill right now, but I'm not seeing a big hail situation coming out of this. This is mostly a wind threat. Winds 60, 65 miles per hour possible. I haven't seen any specific reports from the National Weather Service yet. Yeah, I'm waiting to see if the National Weather Service has anything else on this, but this is mostly going to be just a wind situation right now. So if we broaden this out, I want to show you the whole area. I know there's probably some of you in Corsicana going, what in the blazes is going on here? I don't see anything. Because there's nothing going on in the southern parts of our area right now. Let me move this over a little bit. There's nothing happening in the southern half of our area at this time. Mostly just, now we'll have to watch western Johnson County, northwestern Johnson County. There appears to be some stronger storms that are moving this way. Lighter stuff in Johnson County south of 67 here, but this is really the biggest storm we have impacting our area right now. And it's the very tippy top. So top of Ellis County right now is where that is right now. And it's not anything, again, that is too... I haven't heard any major damage reports or anything of that sort out of this storm, but I will say, now let me watch, okay, the report, now National Weather Service is saying they're getting reports of rotation, but they're not specifying which storm. They must be talking about the Stevens County storm. That must be the one they're referring to. So that was kind of a thread there. So yeah, that's the Stevens County storm. Not any kind of rotation. Again, not seeing any rotation with this storm. A question about Ennis. Ennis, here in the southern part of Ellis County. Right now, you're probably seeing it. You're probably hearing it like everybody else is. But it doesn't look like that's getting close to your area at this time. If anything else, you may get covered by the anvil a little bit here. There is quite an anvil blowing off this storm. But at this time, I don't really expect Ennis to really be getting much, if anything at all, outside of this storm, because it's fairly far north of you at this time. So Ennis right now, not much there, not much to talk about. Now, if you're in Midlothian or even Oakleaf, Ovilla area, we could be looking at some heavier rain, lightning, thunder, that kind of stuff. Midlothian may not be getting rain out of this. I would say there's plenty of lightning and thunder to go through that too, or to pay attention to at least. So be focused on that. Make sure you're indoors when thunder wars go indoors, and even in Waxahachie. Okay, I know we can hear it here. You can't see. You may not be able to see the lightning. It's not on top of you, but it's close enough. This is close enough to get a lightning strike. So go ahead and go inside if you're really anywhere where you can hear the thunder coming out of this storm, and trust me, you can hear it. Go ahead and go indoors. And I've seen a question about the forecast in you can see this morning's forecast. I've not posted an evening one. I've been busy trying to figure out what in the blazes was going on with these storms. There's no evening forecast, but it really hasn't changed much throughout the day. We're looking at storms possible Monday, Tuesday, and we should be done with them on Wednesday. What looks like what's going to happen right now, we have an outflow boundary. Well, actually, in this case now, it's a stationary front that is kind of hanging out around our area, and it's just sitting there. It's going to cause these storms to pop up as we go through the next couple of days. Wednesday looks to be the nicest day of the week. We will still be in the mid-90s, so take with that what you will, but we'll be in the mid-90s, but it looks like possibly some lower humidity. We should have a cool front, I'm using air quotes there, a cool front come in that should help matters a little bit and should bring temperatures a degree or two down. A degree or two is really all you're going to get, but lower humidity on north wind, really the best you can ask for in summer. So take with that and do with that what you will. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, I have triple digits in the forecast, so that's how things work. Monday, Tuesday, storms possible. Wednesday looks to be our nicest day. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we are in the century mark, so that's where we should be for this work week going forward. Now, this storm continues to kind of stretch southward, so the Midlothian area, it is slowly but surely getting closer to you. And we'll look again at this velocity. It does look like the winds are kind of starting to calm down a little bit, but I will say that we are still looking at plenty of gusty winds coming out of this storm. When you have a microburst like that, you're going to be feeling the effects of it for a little while, so don't be too alarmed. Now, we will be watching north of Midlothian here. These storms, sometimes when you get one of those microbursts and you have all this humidity in the air, sometimes that can be an instigator for rotation, even if it doesn't actually turn into anything. Sometimes, again, these little circulations, sometimes those will, or these let me back up, these microbursts will push a lot of cool air into the warm air. Sometimes you'll get little kind of rotations that pop up, and I think that might be part of what we're seeing here. Maybe they don't last very long. They don't really do much. So I think that's part of what we might be seeing there. If you're watching on Velocity and you're watching along with me and you're seeing this here, I don't know that that's really necessarily rotation. What I will say, though, is that we're probably looking at, again, just some of the cool outflow from that microburst mixing with some of that inflow, and might do something, but this is really not the environment where tornadoes would flourish. We'll look back, and I still don't see a huge hail threat here. Again, we could have some small hail, maybe up to nickel size, in this area. So where you see the red, I think that's where you're going to be seeing that. And I know you saw that just pop up here a second ago. We'll go to that next. But where you have this little red kind of snaking through here, I think we could be looking at, again, some up to nickel-sized hail, some modest hail there. Not anything severe, but the severe thunderstorm warning continues, again, for those strong winds that do appear to be calming down a little bit. It looks like mostly this is just a rain and lightning producer at this point. I don't think we do have anything too terribly extreme. The next storm we're going to be looking at is the one moving into western Johnson County, and we talked about that just a moment, how we'll have to watch there. So the the warning has been issued. This storm quickly expanding as it moves into the Crescent and Godley areas. Will be moving eastward towards I-35 there. Well, that's, that's, why is there a line right through the name of that? Just the, what is that? GTP. Matt, can you help me out with this? What am I? Well, I keep thinking of 1902 there, but that's not 35. 35 west going here. So why am I blanking on CTP? Yeah, Matt's looking it up. That's an area, that's a roadway I'm not as familiar with. It goes right into Cleburne from Fort Worth. So I'm always familiar with. That's what it is. Chisel Trail Parkway. That's right. Okay. Now I remember. I expanded in March, and I'm still getting familiar with all of my acronyms here. And I can honestly say I don't think I've ever taken Chisholm Trail Parkway. Is that a toll road? I've never actually taken that. I've always taken 35 north when I'm getting into Fort Worth from somewhere. But I also I've spent plenty of time in Cleburne, but I've never had to go north from there. So that's interesting. I'm gonna have to take a day when I can afford to throw a ton of money away and go in gas and drive around and really get to know some of these other roadways. Yeah, it's a toll road. So that's what I was thinking. It was kind of sounding that way. So that's what we've got. So Chisholm Trail Parkway. I love that name. I'll be able to remember that. I say that, we'll see. But we have this storm moving eastward. That will be moving towards Chisholm Trail Parkway now, moving towards 35 after that. And so that's going to keep going. And I'm getting a lot of, I know you want to send me your pictures. I'm getting a lot of pictures, a lot of messages and things. Matt will be checking those to see if there's any significant stuff that I need to see. If not, I'll be happy to check those after the live stream. So I apologize in advance if I'm replying to you at 1 in the morning because I'm just getting to check those messages. The thing is that what Facebook does, if I don't reply to every message, you may be sending this not expecting a reply at all. If I don't send a reply, Facebook goes in and says, okay, well, you don't message back, so we're going to tell the world about it. And they like downgrade my rating or something. It's the weirdest. It's frustrating. And I'm still kind of learning how that's supposed to work from a business owner standpoint, because not like we can sit around reading messages all the time, especially as many as I get. So it's a thing. So just, if you're getting replies at odd times, because I'm a single business owner, a small business owner, and not single, but small business owner, and I'm doing the best I can. So we're getting reports of hail in the Midlothian area now. So we'll pivot back over to the east. And so we are probably looking at, again, some hail. I would say kind of this snaky shape here. Technical term, of course. This this format, and I'm saying that it's really interesting the way this storm is shaped right now. I'm not sure what all is responsible for that, but that's what we're seeing here, and I need to take care of some housekeeping stuff here in a moment. We'll do that later. Let's get a look at this storm over in Johnson County, this new severe thunderstorm warning. I would say, for one, we're probably looking at stronger winds just south of Crescent, down towards El Tesoro there. So that's probably some downburst, maybe microburst winds that'll be moving towards the Godley area. And then I would say, let's take a look at the hail threat here. Yeah, so we've got a decent hail core that's developed here. And so that is going to be moving towards Godley as well. So if you're in the Godley area in Crescent, decent severe thunderstorm moving your way right now. So just be prepared for that. Get away from windows. This is not the kind of thing you need to get into a storm shelter necessarily, but I will tell you that you do need to get away from windows, because if you have hail and wind, that combination, can break a window. And even if it's just a break where it just kind of falls next to you, you don't want any piece of that, right? No pun intended. But so just, be careful when you are in one of these severe thunderstorms. Just get away from windows. It's not the best idea to sit there watching it. I know that's the temptation right now, but you definitely want to. Man, we are lighting up the map here. It's just a ton of yellow. it's kind of like it was yesterday, right? Navarro County was just completely covered in severe thunderstorm warnings from multiple storms. And now it's the Metroplex's turn. Look at this. From Rockwall all the way through Dallas County, all the way through Fort Worth, south of Weatherford, west of Cleburne now, north of Waxahachie. I mean, this is just covered everywhere. I mean, the southern counties had it yesterday, right? The northern counties got to get it today. It seems fair. Seems fair enough to me. So we'll continue to keep an eye on all of this. I'm going to open the window here. Yeah, we're definitely under the anvil of this storm, and I would say, yeah, there's definitely some interesting mamadas. Now, if you see and I've gotten a lot of pictures of this too. If you see the little bubbles that seem like they're bubbling from the bottom of the cloud, that's mamadas normally. That's what you're looking at. So that can come off of severe thunderstorms. It's just part of the anvil that rides that equilibrium point, that troposphere or tropopause north of us, above us, excuse me. And so that's what you're seeing from that. Now, this storm is it is starting to kind of bow out a little bit towards the Midlothian area. Let's take a look and see if we've got more wind coming from there. I don't see anything immediately concerning, but the way it's bowing out, I would not be surprised if there's some gusty winds at the surface there. We're pretty close to the radar, so I would think that we would be able to see that pretty clearly. Now, okay, report from Granbury. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to talk about that, because that doesn't sound legit to me. Okay, now there's reports of and I'm sure you're seeing this green and red here. We might have some broad rotation here. There's a report possibly of a very broad wall cloud west of Granbury here. I'm not sure that's necessarily going to be the case, but I will say that we will keep an eye on that, just make sure that doesn't tighten up. But that may be another situation we've been talking about where, you see the downburst winds and things, and that can, again, make it look like you're going to get some rotation in there. But whatever might be there, it's very broad at this point. So we'll keep an eye on that as it continues to move off to the east here. But I'm not too terribly concerned. We'll broaden this out and take another look. We need to look at what's going on in Midlothian right now, because that storm does appear to be kind of trying to make it further to the southwest. But northern Waxahachie really is going to be the next target here. Here's 35 and 287 coming together. So you can see that it's trying to make its way down. I don't see any rain at the studio at this point. We're kind of right where that would be expanding. I'm getting the thunder there. I'm right in here. So it looks like we're probably getting some rain just briefly here. Definitely seeing the lightning and the thunder. So let me say this. If we do get to a point where power is lost here at the studio and this stream ends, hang tight, watch the Facebook page, watch the YouTube page. If you're watching on Twitter, watch there too. Just hold tight. We will find a way to bring coverage to you. Last time I had to reboot everything, and we just had to kind of wait a moment to get everything put together. But for the moment here, we are okay. We're all right. But the way that the lightning is going and the winds could be going, you never know. So just if this is interrupted, just give us a few minutes to kind of pivot and recalibrate, and we'll make sure to bring coverage back to you. All right, so I'm getting some stuff in the chat here. And let me check. I've got a few things coming in on the phone too, so let me check that too. A lot of messages coming in. Okay. Yeah, so I'm getting a lot of questions about rotation in Cedar Hill, and I'm really not sure about that. I don't think that I'm just really not sure about that. Again, we'll look back at velocity, and again, you are seeing the red and the green, but there's just not. I'm just not seeing anything that would substantiate a concern of rotation in the Cedar Hill area. So I'm just really not seeing anything that has me believing that. No tornado watches right now. We're only under a severe thunderstorm watch, and there's rumors of wall clouds going up everywhere. And I'm not seeing anything right now. Number one, the atmosphere is just not well primed for tornadoes. Number two, I'm not seeing anything on velocity that has me terribly concerned about that. I'm not seeing the kind of tight rotation that would substantiate that. So if you're seeing posts on Facebook or somewhere that there's wall clouds out there, I'm very, very skeptical of that. I would have to be pretty well convinced. I would have to see some pretty good video of that, I think, if I was going to follow that. But yeah, I'm not sure where everyone's seeing that, but yeah, I would highly doubt that we would be looking at any kind of wall cloud in the Cedar Hill area. Especially, I mean, if you're number one, if you're in Cedar Hill, if you're concerned about rotation, it would be north of Midlothian. We wouldn't be looking at rotation in the Cedar Hill area. I mean, that's just not the right spot to begin with. So I'm very skeptical of any reports of rotation or wall clouds or anything like that out there at this moment, because I'm just not seeing anything that has me convinced of that. And let me see here. I'm still checking some other reports and things that I'm getting, and I just want to make sure that I've got all eyes open here. And this is, man, I can still hear the rumble from this storm. It's just nuts. So this storm continues. The storm west of Corsicana continues to move our way. Really, it looks like it might be kind of moving the same direction. In fact, it doesn't look like it's moving, or at least displacing that much at all. It's definitely not displacing very quickly, and we have probably increasing hail threat west of Cleburne there, moving towards the Godley area right now. So I would be concerned about that. I don't hear any reports of wind problems in that area right now. I'm not seeing reports of that, although I will say that west of Godley, from there to El Tesoro there, we are looking at these areas of stronger winds, but I'm not hearing reports of damage or anything of that sort. And yeah, definitely getting rain at the studio now. I want to go back in the discussion here in the chat. Let's see what's going on there. So, okay, so it looks like, okay, all right. So it looks like the North Texas Weather Center posted that there was multiple reports of a rotating wall cloud approaching Cedar Hill. Yeah, people can report that all they want to. Whether it's real or not is a whole other question. So I don't know where North Texas Weather Center is getting that. There are a lot of times when you have these wind events that you're going to have a lot of motion in a cloud, and they just immediately say that's rotation, and they immediately say it's a wall cloud. You have to understand, number one, before you put this stuff on social media, maybe substantiate it just a little bit more than that. Look at your velocity, see if there's actually rotation going on in the atmosphere, and then maybe post it. But the thing is, you can't just go throwing words out there. And that's just, and I don't mean to have a soapbox moment, but that's just the way it is. And here at South Metro Weather, I do my best to, I'm really cautious before I go posting something like that. So that's just how I operate. Do I look blurry right now? not trying to be vain here, but do I look blurry? I'm trying to make sure that the picture's good, and it just, okay, so let that adjust here. Okay, everybody else says I look good at, you know, just one of those things then. So looking at velocity, again, we can see red, green, if there's any rotation at all west of Cleburne, and if there's any talk about that on social media, because apparently that's a problem now, if there's any talk like that, any rotation there is very broad at this time. Very broad, not anything I would be too terribly worried about at this time. So I just got a picture that my son just stood by himself for a second. He's actually doing a pretty good job. So Jensen, who's been on the stream a couple of times, is getting this standing game down. So this is that's a really neat thing. Yeah, North Texas Weather Center apparently is just going nuts over this Cedar Hill wall cloud report, whatever that was. So yeah, that's not quite, not quite. So I'm going to take the moment to do the housekeeping that I need to do, stuff that I just, it's one of those things, if you're a content creator, this is unfortunately stuff you got to go through. First thing I'll tell you is if you're watching on Facebook, try the YouTube stream. The YouTube channel, I'm told that, and if we can get in fact, let me get on here and awesome. Okay. Okay. I'm sending. All right, thanks, Matt. And I'm okay. So I'm getting. I'm hearing that there's going to be some pictures coming over of that Cedar Hill storm. Maybe we can get a better idea of what's going on. And I'm having discussions with some folks through just text right now. So there's definitely. So I'm getting pictures of this Cedar Hill storm now. And while there's a pretty good shelf cloud on that, and pretty good striations and pretty good structure on that storm, it looks pretty impressive. But I'm not seeing anything that would substantiate rotation. I think part of what you're seeing there is there does look to be a little bit of a lowering maybe, but I'm very hesitant to assume any kind of I'm very skeptical of reporting any kind of rotation anywhere. So I think there's a lot of rumors going on right now, and that's what happens when you're on social media and you parrot this stuff. You're okay. Yeah, I'm getting confirmation that trained spotters, and we lean on these guys a lot. So we are, these are definitely people that I would these are people I take seriously. They're saying that they haven't seen any rotation. So hopefully that post will go away. I doubt it, but hopefully it will. That would be great. And I'm seeing he says he's in Virginia and just posting images from viewers. Well, okay. Well, I don't take vacations, and that's why. So, I mean, it could be the same thing. I'm in a studio, but again, if you're going to post stuff on social media, you have to trust your sources. You have to trust your sources. You have to trust your sources. Not that I don't love y'all, but you have to be trained in this stuff to really use this verbiage. And when you talk about wall clouds in Texas, people are going to take it very seriously, and that is probably going to get shared everywhere. And so, but I can tell you right now, there's been no official trained confirmation of a rotating wall cloud in Cedar Hill, in Midlothian, really in any of these storms at this point. If anything, we could be looking at some rotation west of Godley, but even that is, even that is looking really broad, and the structure just doesn't even look right. So, in fact, you know what, and I bet Matt's going to understand this. And if you're if you're familiar with radar, you will too. I'm willing to bet this red, I bet they're calling that a wall cloud. They're looking at radar. They're not even looking out. They're not even looking at the storm itself. They're not even looking at structure. They're not looking at anything. They're saying, oh, I can see a wall cloud because there's red on the velocity. That's not how this works. Not how this works. So just if you're doing that, do me a favor and quit. And let's talk about what we can see before we start throwing out guesstimations of what other people are seeing. So what we are seeing here, very heavy rain, could be some hail in this storm. I'm more concerned about hail west of Cleburne right now. You see this kind of core building up here. So the National Weather Service is saying they're watching velocity and they're seeing some strong signatures on velocity, but it's all straight line winds. We are much more conducive right now to a damaging wind, straight line wind situation, not rotation for sure. Going back in the comments to discuss a little bit, Suzanne Little. So, okay, that reminds me, I need to finish this. I've already received some Venmo, Cash App stuff here. I haven't had a chance to look and see amounts or anything, or names or anything, but I appreciate the donations. In fact, let me go back and find that, because that's Cameron. Thank you so much for the Venmo donation there. I'm going to try to get better at calling out names. That's something I said I was going to do probably a year ago. Suzanne Littleton with her $20 donation challenge there. Hey, I love a good challenge, and the donations, and I'm going to do this briefly, but the donations to the Venmo and the Cash App and those kind of things, and the sponsorship that some give, and if you're interested in sponsoring, let me know, because I think these couple of spots we have open are about to go. But that stuff helps me keep this free, and it helps me be able to do this as a full-time job. If I couldn't do this full time, I couldn't give the South Metro area, all four of these counties. I could not give you the kind of monitoring and the kind of time that it really takes to do this. I mean, really, you got to be full time dedicated to this stuff to do it right. So it really does help, and it really does make a difference. And I really do appreciate every last bit of it, of the support that I get from you folks. So it does help. But for real, maybe you take a break for vacation. Have a fellow meteorologist that will be in your area covering the storm. I mean, the other meteorologists that I know are in Dallas. They're not going to come down to my little studio here and cover for me. Report of 1-inch hail reported in downtown Godley. So that's just a confirmation in this storm that we are looking at a severe level hail concern with that storm. So keep that in mind. Morgan, are you talking about Matt? So I've talked to Matt about doing on-air stuff before, and he laughed at me. So I don't think that's really going to end up doing much. He much prefers the background stuff, I think. So yeah, I if anything, I would have to take like a go bag with me, right? A whole kit, the which I'm prepared to do, the laptop and everything else, and just be able to set up and do this remotely. But yeah, but all that to say, to wrap it up, yes, the Cash App, the Venmo, all that stuff helps, and I'm sure those are getting posted periodically here. Number one, I've got a growing baby. I've got 6 puppies that are still in the backyard. And there's inflation. So it's expensive. Life is expensive, but you guys, the sponsors that we have, and your unbelievable generosity have been amazing. Thank you, Scott, for the $25 donation to the Cash App. That is fantastic. So, I mean, inflation is killer for content creators, and everything from myself, and I'm kind of a situational guy, all the way to the other content, the people you watch on YouTube, the people that you're watching on TikTok, the people that you're watching on Facebook Shorts, all these people, it's tough. So always consider supporting your content creators, because it's a tough life right now. There was Okay, so if you want to send a message, the best way is to go to the Facebook page. There should be a send a message button there. I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's there, and that's going to be the best way to send a message, send a video to me. That's in the stream will not probably allow you to do that. Um, and you're asked a question: will it weaken as you arrive in Ennis? Okay, we're about to get a new warning, so let's pull that up. I don't think this is really going to get very far into the Ennis area. Now we have okay, well, they're just going to highlight all of Ellis County then. I mean, look at that. Look at that. Just literally. That's awesome. So far western Ellis County might start seeing this storm very soon, but far eastern Johnson County and all of Ellis County, included in this severe thunderstorm warning. If you're down in Italy and Milford, you're probably looking around going, there's nothing happening right now. What's going on? So that storm may not necessarily affect the southern parts of Ellis County. You're in the warning, so you'll be getting the notifications and things, I'm sure, very soon. But that's you're probably not going to get affected by this anytime soon. I will tell you, the Cleburne area, you're starting to get the rain from that storm, and I'm sure you're seeing the lightning and getting the thunder. So it's kind of a similar situation to the one up north. It's not really moving much, it's not displacing much, but you're definitely seeing that hail threat continue west of Cleburne, and then that's going to continue to move off, really build to the east. So, and I'm going to keep following the questions here. Okay, so it looks like there's some back and forth going on there. So let me go back to, there's a lot of responses to one person. Let me go back to that original message. I'm not seeing that original message there, so. Okay, and all right, so Train Spotter here, do not get paid anything, do not post anything unless the source is confirmed. Do not hype because how fast rumors spread. Watching the Midlothian and do not see rotation or anything resembling that. Yeah, so no rotation reported out there in the Midlothian storm, so thank you so much. If you're a spotter, send me an email, kevin@elliscountyweather.com. Sorry, kevin@southmetroweather.com. Man, that's 3 months too late, isn't it? Make sure to send me a message. I would love to get in touch with you because your work is absolutely invaluable. Absolutely invaluable. And it really does make a difference to me when we have spotters that are out there. So I wanna get in touch with you and make sure that I'm that we have you down as a friend of this brand, because storm spotters are really, really, really helpful. All right, and another, let's see. Morgan, thank you so much for the donation in the Cash App. It's going to be fun to see how much the Cash App and the Venmo. I wish we had one of those meters. Not that I really want something else in front of me or the radar, but it'd be fun to have one of those meters, right? The build and that kind of thing. So I guess if you're giving more money, you can watch this expand. I guess that can be our meter. What is MUV smoking the whole county a warning? I'm not exactly sure why the whole county was included there. It could very well be, and they may be looking at Northern Hill County, but they may be looking at this storm expanding further kind of east, southeast here. So, hey, Cade, good to have you in the chat here. It's I'm not sure. I'm trying, but I'm thinking that they're expecting this storm to expand further southeastward. So, that could be part of what's moving that way. So I think that might be part of what we're looking at. And I want to get back in the messages here. Yeah, hit the like button too. I never remember that one. But yes, hit that like button, hit the share button. Just hit buttons. Right, that's what the algorithm likes. It likes you to do, different kind of stuff. And there's different. There's reports of. There's just rumors of rotating wall clouds going everywhere. This is just crazy. So not seeing any kind of rotation here. And talking about Corsicana, nothing moving towards Corsicana at this time. Really nothing moving into Hillsborough. Northern Hill County, I would say from Blum over to Itasca. I'm sure you're seeing this storm to the north, and you're probably hearing it. But I would really, really not be too concerned about that for the near term. Itasca, you may start getting some rain here pretty soon as this continues to kind of build to the southeast, but not really expecting much there. No tornado concerns right now. No tornado concerns, no tornado issues. Also, the National Weather Service is assuring, and this is something I was pretty sure of, but I know the question might come up, that we're not really looking at a round 2 tonight. This is pretty much it. It's already, we're getting what, to 8, it's already past 8 o'clock. We will be getting closer into the, I mean, hey, you know, it's going to be 9 o'clock before long. I mean, the sun is already going down-ish. I mean, I'm covered by clouds. I can't really tell. But the sun is already going down a little bit. So, yeah, it will be one of those things where, you know, this round of storms will start to probably lose some intensity as we lose that daytime heating. It may take a minute. These storms are pretty well fueled right now, but you know, we should see more of that weakening over the next few minutes. So the email to get in touch with me, if you are a storm spotter, a trained storm spotter, trained experience, all that good stuff, is kevin@southmetroweather.com. Pretty straightforward. kevin@southmetroweather.com. Yeah, and we've seen that, Nathan. North Texas Weather Center is putting up a lot of reports of wall clouds and things. It's not very helpful at this time, unfortunately. But that's what they want to do, so that's what they're going to do. But yeah, there's been no reports, no confirmation at all of any kind of rotation of any kind in any of these storms. Definitely no wall clouds or anything. I've really not seen anything at all to even, you know, be concerned about in terms of rotation, wall clouds, any of that. Okay, and still getting a lot of messages and things, and I'm trying to kind of keep up. So right now, the 2 storms we're watching, let's kind of get back to basics here. The 2 storms we're watching, one severe thunderstorm from near Midlothian over towards Ferris down to the Palmer area now. And this storm, if you're in the Arlington area, the Grand Prairie area, it's been raining heavy there for a while now. Now, yes, we have heard multiple rumors, I won't even call them reports, rumors of wall clouds in the Cedar Hill area down to Midlothian. Do not believe any of that. I wish I could just have a big wrong here or something, but do not believe the reports of wall clouds and things from Midlothian and Cedar Hill. Not the case. Absolutely not the case. Nothing to substantiate that. There's just nothing to believe there. So, and I'm seeing, Broderick, you're saying there's a massive wall cloud, or a massive shelf cloud rather, with this storm. Shelf cloud's believable. Shelf cloud is going to be a lot more common than a wall cloud, okay? A shelf cloud, any kind of storm like this, where you have this kind of structure, you have these kind of winds, you're going to see that. Marty, the way you get trained as a storm spotter is in the wintertime, late winter, early spring, really, February, March time. There will be a storm spotter, a Skywarn storm spotter training, and so you can go to one of those. They will teach you all of the things that you need to understand, all the things you need to pay attention to. So yeah, there's just nothing. There's really not another way to do that. Skywarn is really the central kind of program for that in our area. And I'm going to go over to North Texas. So yeah, it looks like, okay, so he's saying need reports. What are y'all seeing right now? So he's crowdfunding his page. He's crowdsourcing his weather information. We don't do that here. That's not how things work. But he's crowdsourcing all of his information. So yeah, I mean that's that's unfortunate, but yeah. So he's okay. He's in Virginia and at a Chili's. Trying my best with updates as is. Um, so more ribs, less weather, if we could. Uh, man, that is, and normally, guys, normally I wouldn't go on and on about this, but we really cannot allow that, because what's going to happen is you see it there, you come and ask me. It really, we really got to be careful about that, because we have severe thunderstorm warnings and we have a severe thunderstorm watch that is in place, but we don't have anything rotating. Now let's pay attention to. Okay, there's a couple of things I want to pay attention to in this storm west of Cleburne. That looks to be our stronger storm at this point. Um, the storm in let me just kind of leave off with this. There's Yeah, so this storm really doesn't look very severe at this time, bringing mostly rain. I think our biggest concern is going to be this storm just west of Cleburne, really on the west side of Cleburne. So our hail threat is going to be right here in between, really southwest of Godley. So this is where we're going to be looking at most of our hail. This little hook here, what I can tell you is just on the base level here, there is a hook here, and yes, there does appear to be some converging winds maybe in that area, stronger winds in that area, but I'm not seeing the kind of structure that would allow any kind of rotation to happen for very long. That's what we're watching. So this would be the area if we had any kind of rotation, any kind of wall cloud or rotation or anything, we would get a report from that area. But I'm not hearing that right now. There hasn't been anything confirming that, but we will keep an eye on that just in case something good. So, by the way, I'm pretty sure that's Matt complaining about Chili's food. I mean, it is a catastrophe. It is worth at least a mention. And okay, so hail west of Cleburne, yeah. So that's what you're seeing there. Okay, yeah, and so it's yeah, okay. All right, I'm gonna get off of there. All right, so we did the housekeeping, right? I took care of all that. I'm pretty sure we did. Raining and thunder in East Fort Worth. Yeah, Fort Worth is getting pretty well hit right now. What I will say too, though, is that this storm is getting a pretty nice push to the southeast. So this storm could be moving into the Midlothian area in the next several minutes. This storm is going to continue kind of building to the southeast. It's not really moving much, but it will be building more to the southeast. Not really looking at a hail threat for Waxahachie right now, just to answer that question. Not something I'm too concerned about. But this storm moving pretty quickly out. And Mike, it depends on where you're at, if you can get in the pool. Probably not. But this storm moving out of Fort Worth has got a pretty good clip to it. So that will be moving into the Midlothian area here in the next few minutes. And so really, when it comes to highlighting all of Ellis County, probably just we've got this large area of storms that's generally moving to the southeast. So it stands to reason that some part of Ellis County is probably going to get a little bit of something here out of these storms. So western Johnson County, we continue to be concerned about hail coming out of that storm. And if you're looking at this little kind of hooky thing looking here, again, I'm not seeing anything that would substantiate long-term rotation with that. And by the way, I need to mention there has been an Amber Alert issued. I haven't had a chance to share that on the page, but there is an Amber Alert out of Dallas. And with all the chaos that these storms are creating, I'm sure that is making it easier for not so great things to, at least no progress to happen. So make sure you pay attention to the Amber Alert information. That is something that definitely needs to be followed up upon, I'll say. Now, I will say too that this storm just does not look to be really doing anything severe at this time. We'll take a look. Let's take a look at the velocity, and I'm not seeing too much wind out of this. Maybe South Arlington towards north of Mansfield there. Um, so you've got something just to kind of show you. You've got the radar location here, and it looks like winds are moving out of that right now. So with the storm, yeah. So that where you're seeing the red there, don't be alarmed by the red that's moving away from the radar. That's winds blowing away from the radar. That's the storm that's moving to the southeast. So presumably, that's just part of it. So. And Frank, normally I would share a picture of the actual Amber Alert. With this going on, I haven't had a chance to actually put that together. What I do is I share the graphic that DPS puts out, but it takes a little while for that to generate, and they hadn't done that before I had to start working this stuff. So I will probably, after the stream tonight, I will share the actual post. And that way, you have the pictures and the details and that kind of thing to share out as well. And you all do a wonderful job of sharing that too. So again, out of this storm, this definitely looks more like a straight line wind threat to me west of Cleburne. So be concerned about that. I'm getting confirmation of hail out of that storm as well. So those are the two that we need to watch. Now I will also say that... I'm getting another message here. Yeah, a great message from an EMT, a friend of mine, that who used the Q word, and that's I think I posted that somewhere. Somebody used the Q word, and that's what happened. But out of this storm, you can definitely see a bit of a hail core here. So that's interesting. That shape there, that's really interesting. But we're definitely looking at a hail threat here west of Cleburne. So I don't see anything. We're probably looking at dime, nickel-sized hail here. I think that's probably what we're looking at for the most part out of that storm. And then I don't see. I mean, we could be looking at some small hail developing west of Palmer there. Maybe dime-sized hail, pea-sized, dime-sized hail. And then right on the county line there might be some pea or dime-sized hail there. Really not much out of that. The biggest storm right now is west of Cleburne, so that's going to be the biggest concern here. That does appear to be kind of slowly but surely moving to the southeast towards the Itasca area, maybe towards Blum. And then obviously this storm, let's take a look at that one. This is going to be the one moving towards more towards Midlothian, and it doesn't look too intimidating. Looks like there's some gusty winds with that storm, but I don't see any kind of hail threat with that right now. Now, a flash flood warning is coming out for Dallas. 2 areas of concern one near Joe Pool Lake and Cedar Hill. So that is something that I've kind of been mentioning is, again, this area has been plenty of rain. So Joe Pool Lake near Cedar Hill, this area, and in Cedar Hill really, that's really one of the biggest areas they're looking at for flash flooding. So I know we have some viewers that are just north of our area. So if you're in Cedar Hill around Joe Pool Lake, you need to be concerned about flash flooding at this time because there's a lot of rain falling in a very short amount of time there, and that could be a concern. And the question, are these storms going to move towards Waxahachie? It doesn't really look like a whole lot will be moving that way, but yeah, there's really nothing at this point. And I'm looking back to some conversation that's going on here. Okay, so we'll keep looking at this, and I've been kind of bouncing back and forth between what to call this here west of Cleburne, because we're seeing this. We've been seeing that notch, and we've been seeing some increasing winds. Looks like winds are toning down now, but it looks like we might have had some broad rotation at one time in this storm, but it's just not anything that's too terribly concerning at this moment. I'm not seeing anything that's got me too convinced of really anything. for right now. So, excuse me. So that's kind of where we're at. Now I'm gonna allow. Let me see if I can get some water coming here. Um, and see if I can get a call in a friend here. And because my throat is drying up already. Get the man. Don't give me some coffee. I don't think I need coffee right now. It won't be a long night, and hoping to get some sleep tonight. Didn't get a whole lot of sleep last night. The baby was he's not been sleeping well, so nor have mom or dad. So that's just kind of the struggle we've been going through. But if you notice here, again, you can see this kind of bow shape. So it definitely looks to me like we're looking at more straight line winds being a concern from this storm west of Cleburne. We could be looking at some maybe broad or some weak kind of rotation trying to develop there. I just don't think it's had the structure or the consistency to really hold on to that. So we'll continue to watch that, and I know that as was mentioned or as I mentioned, it does kind of match up with this notch. It's in the right location. It's in the right spot of the storm to have some rotation, but there just hasn't been a whole lot of conversation about that. Number one, not a lot of conversation from the National Weather Service, which I think they would be paying attention. Sometimes when it's south of their area, they're not watching as closely, but I think they would be watching that. So we'll keep an eye on it, but I don't think at this moment it's anything to be too terribly worried about right now. So, but we will watch that on the next several minutes. So, no, I'm seeing Itasca should be concerned about that storm strengthening. It's unclear at this moment if in the Itasca area if you need to be worried. So it's cool how it does. I'm a kid when it comes to radar stuff, right? So I'm having fun with the water bottle now. So that storm, I don't know if it's strengthening. If anything, it almost looks like it's weakening a little bit. I'm not seeing the kind of hail core in that storm that we have seen. They will be issuing a new downstream severe thunderstorm warning into northern Hill County. So that will be coming soon. I'm sure that will include Blum, Itasca, maybe down to Hillsborough here. So over the next few minutes, that will be, we will be seeing that. But I'm not terribly concerned at this time. Let me follow some more questions here. The Maypearl area. Maypearl will probably see some rain out of this. Doesn't look like any kind of severe weather at this point. And hearing a report of small hail in Palmer, so that matches up with that storm. It doesn't take a whole lot for these storms to get hail. That's the thing, because, I mean, it's these storms, as warm as things are, heat rises, right? So we're talking 90 plus degrees. Plenty of heat to rise at this point, plenty of lift in this area. So, it doesn't take a whole lot for there to be a little hail. And hail by itself is not a severe thunderstorm. It has to be the right size. Alvarado looking pretty bad. That's the thing. A lot of these storms are going to look worse than they are. And that's why you have terms like SLC, scary looking clouds. Right, that's kind of a term that some different weather people have between each other. That we'll get pictures of, oh my God, this cloud looks awful, and we're going, yeah, but it's just not. There's nothing all the reports that North Texas Weather Center was putting out, all this stuff. They're gonna put out. They're gonna say, oh, this cloud looks scary. There must be something going on, right? Well, this cloud looks scary. There must be a tornado. It takes a lot more than a scary cloud to make a tornado. So that's why we have SLCs, right? Scary looking clouds, that kind of term. Report of, it's got a ton of hail at Dallas near 75 in Mockingbird. Yeah, pretty decent storms up in Dallas County right now. It's a little further north than we cover, but I will mention it. I'm going to take a quick drink here. And I mute that only because this has got to be the loudest water bottle I've ever seen. For whatever reason, it's just really, really loud. Okay, and you're talking about the green sky. Here's the thing on the green sky. Twister made famous, green clouds. And Twister made it seem like green clouds mean a tornado. They don't. Here's the thing. Green clouds can happen really at any time. Sometimes all it takes is just the sun hitting the clouds right, and it's going to make them green. So you've got clouds that are refracting light, and so if that happens at the right way, you could get a green cloud or two. Now here's the thing. Sometimes if you see kind of a what's that color? Kind of like a mix of turquoise and green, kind of a marine green almost. If you see that color up in the clouds, if it's an indication of anything at all, that might be an indication of hail, because of the way that the light reflects through the ice. So that's possible. Now, how do you? Here goes my kind of Glenn Beck like wall conspiracy theory situation, right? Where you have. We need to start a podcast or something, Matt. You have if you have hail, you have a strong updraft. Well, it also takes a strong updraft to make a tornado. So you could relate it if you wanted to. You could stretch it far enough to where a green sky could be indicative of a tornado. But it's just by itself, it's just not. It's just not one of those things we look for. So that's just how that goes. Lightning is definitely bad. Lightning is bad everywhere. And this time of year, the lightning will definitely get more intense. Dallas is getting absolutely annihilated. Hail, lightning, no power. Yeah, the Dallas storm is it's taking a beating, but it's not, fortunately, that's not really affecting our area right now. Skies looks yellow looking north. I don't know how you're seeing anything right now because it's pretty dark. But yeah, not sure what you're seeing if there's a yellow sky out there. No significant outages from Encore reported. That's some information I got a moment ago. Did I miss anyone with? Did I miss any donations coming in? I don't think I did. Let me go look. So I don't. Okay, yeah, we'll check that too. So I don't think I thanked Raymond or Debbie for the donations on Venmo. So thank you so much for that. Those donations really do make a difference. Hey, they keep this free, right? You don't have to pay anything. You're not required to pay anything. Now, if you want to donate, obviously that's great. Cash App, Venmo, we have those. I think we have PayPal too, if you prefer that. I don't know if we usually post the PayPal. It's there, but those things keep it free, and they make it to where I can do this full time, feed my family, feed myself. Too much, clearly, but it keeps the lights on, allows me to do this full time, and allows me to give you full coverage. So, it's a good thing, and I will say. Allows me to do continuing education. It's still green. Continuing education too. So it allows me to pick up some of the resources that help me do what I do better. I don't profess to know everything in weather. There's always things to learn, and I always want to make sure that I'm learning new things. So that's actually going to be part of what I'm doing. That's part of what I'm doing this summer. Is actually putting myself through a kind of a self-driven course. A couple of brush up not only on some fundamentals, but I want to find out, what do I not know yet? What have I not learned yet to just make myself better? Now, velocity moving into, wow, sorry if that broke your ears on the microphone there. Yeah, thank you, Matt, for bringing my attention to this. Probably a downburst or a microburst moving into Mansfield, down towards Venus, towards Midlothian right now. And that's right close to the radar location too. So we're looking right down at the ground at the surface. So strongest wind's going to be moving through the Lillian area right now, moving eastward towards Britain, Midlothian. You've got Ward there. You got Mount... what is that? Mountain Peak there? Yeah, Mountain Peak. And so this is going to be your strongest winds right now. This is probably the biggest concern we have. No tornado risk with this, but this is strong straight line winds, okay? This is straight line winds that are moving out of the storm. Get away from windows in this area. Get away from windows. If you're not in a strong structure, in a strong building, you want to be getting into a strong building. This is not the kind of thing you want to be playing around with. We could be talking about 60, 65, 70 mile per hour winds, possibly. I don't have confirmation of that, but that's what these microbursts and these downbursts are capable of. So we'll continue to watch this very closely here. And in fact, we won't worry about that. But we do need to definitely keep an eye on that as we go forward here. And so we will watch this. This is where we're looking at the strongest winds. We could very well be looking at damaging winds out of this storm. So we will continue to monitor this. And somebody asking where we're at. This is Texas. This is between Dallas and Waco. So that's where this the coverage is located here. Oh, okay. The unmute didn't work. That's cool. Um, that's fun. Always fun when buttons don't work. Very cool. So what we're talking about here is we've got these we have this wind threat here. We're looking at 45 to 60 mile per hour winds, possibly more even. This is going to be one of those possibly downburst, microburst winds that's coming through from Mansfield down, just moved through the Lillian area, moving all the way towards the Ward area, towards Venus, towards Britain, towards Midlothian. So these winds these need to be watched. You want to be indoors, you want to be away from windows, just in case we get stronger winds that are moving through. So just keep in mind that as these winds continue to move off to the east, and the radar location is pretty close, we're pretty close down to the ground, so it's going to be one of those situations where we're definitely looking at strong winds likely spreading into Midlothian now, so or at least soon. So if you're in the Midlothian area, get away from windows if you can. Try to get away from windows. Try to stay in a centralized area in your home. There could be hail in this storm as well, so just keep in mind that you could be looking at hail being blown by strong winds, which can be a threat just generally. So just make sure you're paying attention to that. And let me check something else too. Let me check. Let's see if I've got another source in that area. Okay. All right. So yeah, we're going to continue to watch these winds. And if you're not familiar with this radar model, this is velocity view. So this is showing us wind direction. That's the red and the green. The green is moving towards the radar, which is right here. Red is moving away. So these are winds that are pushing away from the radar at this point. And then the brighter colors are stronger winds. So that's how we're able to kind of measure wind through this radar section. And so we do have those stronger winds pushing through Britain right now. This is 287, here's 67. So this is what we're watching. It just passed over 360 here. Going to continue to move towards, moving across 67 right now in the Venus area and in the Ward area south of Midlothian. In Midlothian and north, it will be moving towards 67 very, very soon. So that's kind of what we're seeing there. I'm hearing a report of pea-sized hail in Palmer. So we will kind of broaden this out a little bit in a moment, but I just want to make sure we're looking at the strong winds that are pushing through this area right now. They will be a concern. This is not the kind of thing that's going to destroy a house, but it can be strong enough if you got weak windows or something of that nature. If I mean, just imagine straight line winds, 45, 50, 60 mile per hour winds, all pushing in the same direction, all blasting in the same direction. That can be a pretty big problem. And if it doesn't damage your house, it can damage smaller structures. So just bear in mind that we do have strong winds that are moving towards the Midlothian area right now. Matt is in Midlothian. I'm sure if things get crazy, he will be letting me know that. Yeah, if you're probably going to be looking at some pretty strong winds moving towards, again, moving through Venus, moving towards Mountain Peak, Midlothian, and possibly up towards Cedar Hill over the next few moments. And if we put this into motion, you can see it pretty clearly here. That's pretty clear, the way that's pushing. So that's going to continue to push on to the east. And you can see the brighter yellow, the brighter red, and the yellow colors here. So that's where we're seeing this. This could eventually move towards Waxahachie. We could have stronger winds that way too. And you can see the way it spreads out in all directions. Do you see that? And that's how you get these outflow boundaries as well. So we'll probably see outflow out ahead of the storm eventually. It will outpace it. So eventually we'll see outflow, and that could move through the rest of the county here. So, but at this moment, we are concerned about probably a downburst or a microburst that what we're seeing is, again, these winds that come down out of the storm and spread out in all directions. That's why you're seeing this do that, just spread out in all those different directions. So that's kind of what we're going to be seeing over the next several minutes. That's what we're watching. And we will go back. Let's see what the reflectivity looks like here. And you can see it too. You can see the way it's expanding the rain base here as well. So moving into Midlothian and Ward, very heavy rain, could have some hail in that as well. The other kind of heavier area of precipitation we have is in the Palmer area. It looks like there could be a hail core that's trying to develop there. So small hail reported in Palmer with that storm. This storm looks to be kind of losing some of that cover, some of that structure rather. Now moving south of Cleburne into northern Hill County. We'll be moving into the Itasca area here soon, moving towards Blum. We'll continue on southward towards Hillsborough. Could affect far southwestern Ellis County as well. So this is what we're seeing around our area. And yeah, so no rotation in Palmer. No rotation out there. We are just looking at we are just simply looking at mostly a hail threat here, although we do again have those strong winds that are basically just blowing this storm up in the Midlothian area. So we'll continue to focus in there. I want to pause this and put this back on velocity. And you can see, again, North Midlothian is really going to be the loudest, the biggest winds we're going to see from this. So very strong winds moving east there. So just be prepared for that. I'm not going to push the mute button this time. You're just going to have to listen to this. I don't know why that's so loud, but it is. But I'm not going to mute it so I don't mess things up. But now Pratt Road, is that Midlothian? Or is that... oh, Red Oak. Okay. Pratt Road and Red Oak. So loud and loads of rain. So it sounds like it's just a loud storm in the Red Oak area. Heavy rain there. That's going to be part of that storm that's just kind of been sitting there building southeastward all evening. And that, again, could cause some flooding issues. I am more and more concerned about flooding in this storm as it continues to just kind of, it looks like it's moving more now, displacing a little more now, but still plenty of heavy rain here, small hail reported in Palmer. And if we just take a general look at the whole area here, Trey, you're asking about cooler temperatures tomorrow. See, and you're getting that from the Fox app. The Fox 4, the WAP, as they call it, the AI, the API rather, is the same as what comes from the weather company. That's IBM. That's the Weather Channel. And that's the same API that literally produced the same forecast, or two different forecasts for the same location at the same time. Take and use that for what you will. The challenge with the forecast the next couple of days is we have this outflow boundary, or excuse me, now it was an outflow boundary yesterday. We have what am I trying to hear? A stationary front that's kind of parked across our area, and you notice today it was really wet and humid and warm and gross outside. That's on the south side of that stationary front. On the north side, it's going to be cooler, going to be a little less humid. You kind of really can't tell where that's going to be sitting. My money is that it's going to probably still be north of us tomorrow. Now, from this, overnight, we may have some rain-cooled air. Like, I'm sure the wind that's blowing through Midlothian right now is cooler, at least a little bit, but I don't think it's going to impact the forecast big time. I do think that Wednesday we should see lower temperatures, maybe a degree or two cooler. But over the next couple of days, we have more chances for storms like this, and I do think that we will probably be on the south side of that stationary front. So, depending on where the stationary front goes, where it bobs and weaves, we could get lower temperatures tomorrow. It could be a nicer day, but my money is on the fact I think it's probably going to be north of us. But I'll have more on that overnight tonight and tomorrow morning to see where that's going to be. I was trying to give a broader look over the whole area. Three storms to be paying attention to here. One storm south of Cleveland that's moving into northern Hill County, mostly a hail threat right now with that storm. We have the storm moving into northeastern Johnson County, northwestern Ellis County. We've been seeing some strong winds with that storm as that has moved in. And then over to northeastern Ellis County, from Palmer up to Ferris, over back to Red Oak. Heavy rain here, mostly a rain and hail threat here. Could be some flood issues going on where you've had this storm because it hasn't been displacing much. And we'll look at, looks like the heaviest precip right now is in the Palmer area. We'll look at this, not really much in terms, not really much in terms of wind, but we are looking at this developing hail threat, this developing hail core right here in this area. Let's go back to velocity and look at these winds in Midlothian. We are definitely looking at this yellow here, these strong winds. Matt, I don't know if you're feeling those outflow winds right now where you're located, but yeah, plenty of strong winds in Midlothian. It looks like the chat is substantiating a lot of that information. So that's just kind of where things are. Okay, so yeah, hail in hearing reports of hail still in Mansfield, probably from that storm. All right, so let's just continue to. All right, and $10 through YouTube from Troy. So I guess that's an option too. That looks a little different from what I've seen, so I'm not sure what exactly that is, but I appreciate that, Troy, for your donation. I will say the quickest way to probably get things back to me is there's the Cash App and the let me see. There's Cash App, Venmo, and Matt is working on getting online as Power Flickered, probably from those winds. I will say, from what I've heard from Encore, a contact with them, is that there hasn't been substantial power outages yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if in the Midlothian area we're starting to see more power outages. So, could very well be an issue there. And so if you're... Let me just post that too. So there's the Cash App and the Venmo. I think I'm caught up on thanking folks for the donations that I've received through there. Morgan, Debbie, Raymond, Scott, Sarah, Cameron. I'm not sure if I got all of you before, but thank you so much for the donations that you sent in. It means the world. It really, really does. Means a lot. So thank you so much for all of the support. And, thank you so much for the continued support, because it keeps this free. It allows me to do this full time. It allows me to eat more than I should. And it allows me to feed that growing belly, that 1-year-old that just keeps getting bigger and bigger by the day. I've had him on the stream a couple of times, and my gosh, he is getting bigger. And then I got 6 puppies I'm feeding too. So it's gotten expensive around here. But I do appreciate that. And, I appreciate also just everybody that's tuned in. Let me stop here and just mention very quickly, if you're watching the Facebook stream, try the YouTube stream, because the YouTube stream is great. I'm quoting a tiger there now. They're great, absolutely great. So the YouTube stream is great. And then what I've actually heard a lot of people do is they'll watch on YouTube on their TV, because, you can get a bigger picture, and then they'll actually be following the Facebook message, or the Facebook, what am I trying to say? The Facebook chat on their phone. So that way you kind of get the best of both worlds. I'm not seeing a name on this. I think that's Heidi. Thank you so much for the Cash App donation. That's awesome. I really appreciate that. Okay, yeah, also, I'm sure the shelf cloud looks fantastic over Midlothian right now. Unfortunately, I think it's probably a little dark to catch it. But this is really the kind of most dangerous weather we have right now. These winds that I'm more and more concerned about this moving. Confirmed bad winds in Midlothian. Yeah, so that's what we're looking at right here, this red, and then you see these yellows here. Strong winds moving out of that storm right now. So that's pushing eastward. So from Ovilla, Oakleaf, moving towards Red Oak, no tornadoes right now. These are straight line winds, so no tornadoes to be concerned about. Maypearl could be getting some winds pretty soon. This is going to be moving towards Waxahachie, towards Sardis and Sterrett and Red Oak and Oakleaf and all this. That's going to be moving. It's probably moving right through Midway Regional Airport right now. Yeah, the YouTube is crystal clear. It really does look better. So this is the winds. These are the strong winds that we're watching. That's what we're seeing right now. So definitely follow that, definitely pay attention as those winds are coming through. Again, I know it's loud. I don't know why this water bottle is so noisy. Anybody else have the Circle water bottles and just notice that it's just really, I guess it's going through that filter. It's just really, really loud. Lots of comments coming in here. Let's check this out. How bad will it hit Kaufman? It's a while before this part of the storm moves through Kaufman, so not a whole lot I can contribute there right now. Plus, that's east of our area. Yeah, so winds picking up in Waxahachie, heavy winds in Midlothian. Okay, and so, and I'm hearing a lot of questions about the Ennis area too. So we'll get there shortly. But I just want to make sure you understand: Oakleaf, Red Oak, Ovilla, down to Waxahachie. Strong winds are moving through in the next few minutes. So make sure you're paying attention to that. And just to know, for Kaufman, looks like the severe thunderstorm warning for Kaufman was actually canceled. So that's just a note for that. So in northern Ellis County, we're kind of looking at these storms kind of just coming together here, kind of morphing together. Still looking at a bit of a hail threat there in the Palmer area back towards Midlothian. This is where we've seen these strong winds coming through. So in this storm, just in general, and I see that this is moving southward towards Waxahachie too, just in general here, strong winds possible. We could be looking at these gusty winds of anywhere from 40 to 50, maybe even 60 miles per hour. 60 miles per hour is your severe weather criteria. That's kind of your line there. And then hail is possible as well. The largest hail probably in the Palmer area right now. I'm not thinking there's a whole lot of hail in the Midlothian area. It could be some hail, but I'm not thinking it's probably as large. Yeah, so we're definitely looking at hail from Palmer down towards Garrett. But it could be some small hail, maybe nickel size from north of Midlothian up to Cedar Hill. So that's kind of what we're seeing there. And then as we look towards the Rio Vista area here, possibly up to nickel-sized hail there as well. Lots of messages coming in, and if you all will not only hit the like button, but share this stream as well, make sure that folks are aware. We're starting to get into, really though, it looks like the whole area is probably going to be impacted by something tonight. So make sure that you are sharing this stream. We've got the Cash App and the Venmo up as well if you're able to support this continued work. It looks like the storm north of Covington, north of Itasca, is probably weakening back towards Sand Flat. That looks to be a weakening trend there. Now, northern Ellis County is actually getting pummeled right now with heavy rain. But it does look like this storm south of Cleburne might be running out of gas. It's been running for quite a while. So I think that one might be kind of running out of some steam there. All of this north of I mean, just look, just look at northern Ellis County. I mean, it's just, North Ellis County clearly needs a haircut here, because man, oh man, from Venus to Midlothian, Red Oak, Ferris, Palmer, back to Waxahachie, just a large area covered by this storm. Hail possible in different parts of the storm. The largest hail possible right now towards Palmer. Moving into the Ennis area now. So Ennis, you are, and I'm hearing that the sirens are going off in Plano. That's pretty far out of our area, and no tornadoes were reported up there. But if you hear sirens, sometimes those will sound for stronger winds, possibly for hail and that kind of thing too. So it just really depends. But I am hearing about more power outages in the Midlothian area. I'm sure I'll get an update from my connection over at Encore very soon about what they're seeing there. But the Bardwell area, not really getting anything right now. So here we go. That kind of gives you a few more. I'm not able to control what towns come up at one point. It's all the app that I'm using, the program that I'm using. And when you zoom in more, you get more communities. But the more you're zoomed out, the fewer you're going to see. And again, I just can't quite control that. 48 mile per hour winds measured by a ham operator in Midlothian. So 48 mile an hour winds measured in Midlothian right now. So that's those stronger winds that we have been seeing coming through. The thunder is loud. It definitely is. So just, and the loud, constant thunder, that's what I said at the top of the broadcast. I mean, this storm sounds like somebody punched its sister. I mean, it's just growling out there. Absolutely ticked off. So that's just, and these storms, they love attention. If I've learned anything else, they love attention. And that's just how it is, unfortunately. And I will say too, and I know there's a lot of people that are just joining the stream. The fact of the matter is, and I'm going to step out of the way a little bit so you can, while I'm yammering, you can see your community. But we've had reports and rumors and things, mostly rumors, of wall clouds from Midlothian to Cedar Hill, up that area. None of that is substantiated. That is a page. That gentleman that is reporting that is out of state right now and at a restaurant. So, I mean, he's operating probably strictly off his phone. He's in and out of paying attention. There's just not good information coming from that page. So what I would say is take anything you get from tonight from that page with a grain of salt, because there's just not very good information coming from there. We have not been able to substantiate any of that. So new severe thunderstorm warning for Ellis County until 9:45 p.m. for 65 mile per hour winds that are radar indicated, 1.5 inch hail possible, radar indicated. And again, that's just Ellis. So I don't know if they're just renewing the existing warning here. Yeah, it's literally the shape of Ellis County. So just Ellis County. Navarro County not warned yet, although in the Rice area, you may soon see this moving towards your direction. So at this point, just Ellis County that is warned right now for that storm. If we again go back to the west, and again, no tornado threat tonight, but this weakening storm south of Cleburne, that is moving into northern Hill County here. And it looks like this storm it's shrinking a little bit, but it is holding on to some of its strength. So possibly some hail east of Rio Vista there, north of Itasca. So as this continues to move south, Let me see. Let me check and see if I can get some information on these power outages. Let me see. Okay, yeah, there's the new severe thunderstorm warning. See if I can get some updated information from Encore there. Yeah, and there's plenty of wind and rain and hail going all over the place tonight. Looks like Maypearl really is kind of staying out of it mostly, but could see some of this from the west. So we'll continue to watch this strong storm, and let's take a look at the hail probabilities here too. And looks like, okay, so, and Kinsey, thank you so much for that Venmo donation there. I do definitely appreciate that. Again, I'll mention, hey, it keeps this free, right? And it allows me to do this full time. Yeah, we could be looking at an increasing hail threat east of Rio Vista there. So that's east of Rio Vista, right near Parker. That's going to be moving southeast towards the Covington area, towards Itasca here in the next few minutes. There's Durden, I guess is how that's pronounced. I'm not too sure, so I apologize if it's Dearden or Durden there. So as that continues to move on to the southeast, and here's a report of a 54 mile per hour, almost 55 mile per hour wind reported there in the Midlothian area. So definitely strong winds continuing in the Midlothian area there. Yeah, so plenty of pockets of hail here. Now, you're not getting hail in all of the red here. Let me make sure you understand that too. Really where you're going to be looking at hail is where you have the darker reds, then you start kind of getting into the pink and that kind of thing. That's where you're going to have your hail. So east of Rio Vista there, and then again kind of in the Palmer area, those are really where you're going to see the highest hail probabilities. We are definitely looking at stronger winds moving probably across 35 right now. We'll get back to this velocity view, and yeah, going to be moving right towards 35. Strongest winds still just outside of Midlothian, and no tornadoes out here. These are straight line winds. So straight line winds going in one direction, and rotating winds obviously are what you need for a tornadic situation, but it's okay. And I think somebody posted just a moment ago some of the info from Encore, so there's that. But these are the strong winds that are pushing across 35 now. So moving into Waxahachie, Ovilla, Oakleaf, Red Oak, that area, Pecan Hill pretty soon as well. And the winds, I'm pretty sure, are probably weakening here. We're probably getting away from those peak winds at this point. But I would say it's mostly going to be it's gusty winds, but I don't think it's terribly severe at this time. Okay, let me get to where I can keep following these updates too. So let's get back to our reflectivity here. And you can see all of the lightning here, and really all of Ellis County at this point. If you're in Ellis County, you need to be indoors because when thunder roars, go indoors is a serious thing. It's catchy, it's funny, it's silly, but it's really a serious thing because lightning can strike 30 miles outside of a storm. So not only is this storm producing a lot of lightning, this storm can produce a lot of lightning as well. And so even if you're in the Italy area or the Milford area, you still have storms close enough to cause those problems. So everyone in Ellis County should be indoors at this time, without a doubt. So that's just a big part of that. And I haven't mentioned this yet tonight, but you can watch in the radar-only stream. If you're tired of me zooming in and out and showing all this stuff everywhere, or you want to have another perspective, you can go over to it's on exclusively on YouTube. Go to the radar-only stream. That will allow you to, and I'm going to adjust this just a little bit here because I don't feel like I'm really, there we go. That will allow you to just watch the radar, and it's going to be area wide. So it's all 4 counties. So if you want to have that perspective, then you can do that, or you can stay here and just watch this. Some people I know have had both, right? Sometimes people will have the radar on one screen and then, you know, me on the other, or whatever the case is, but both of those options are available to you. So we'll put this back into motion. Things are finally going to start calming down a little bit in western Ellis County. So eastern Johnson County, things are calming, at least northeastern Johnson County, things are calming down. Midlothian should start getting calmer, Maypearl. Not anywhere, definitely not any kind, it's not safe enough yet to go outside, really anywhere around any of these storms. But just keep that in mind as well, that, you know, it's calming down in far western Ellis County. Again, Midlothian, Maypearl, not far enough away yet to go outside. Still plenty of lightning out there. Thank you, Chad, for the Venmo donation. That is wonderfully appreciated. All of that is wonderfully appreciated. So we'll zoom back in and kind of get a better picture of what's going on here and there. A lot of discussion north of us when it comes to National Weather Service and that kind of thing. So looks like we're losing some of this intensity in Palmer and Garrett right now. Still some hail probably there. In fact, let me see what, okay, so just started in Garrett. Brandy, are you getting hail at this time? Or are you getting hail in that area? That I don't know if we're getting hail in this storm, probably more towards nickel sized, I would say. I don't think we're getting severe hail at this time. And you can see here, you can see the little reds here, the little oranges. I would not be surprised if there's little pockets of hail here and there. I don't know if you're getting the dumping of hail that some places are. Now, I will say that in the area north of Covington, just near Parker, that's a more concentrated hail core. So there's probably some closer to quarter-sized hail falling there. Quarter, possibly $half size. So that area could be looking at, you know, larger hail and heavier hail in that particular area. So, and just to kind of give you an idea, specifically, let's get back to just the radar here. But just to give you an idea, let's pull the radar off of here. Here's the severe thunderstorm warnings that are in effect right now. The warning in Ellis County goes for another 44 minutes, so that's going to be about 9:45. The about another 29 minutes, about another half hour in Hill County and southern Johnson County here, so that's going to be until about 9:30, and then all of Ellis County again until 9:45. So those are the 2 severe thunderstorm warnings that are in effect right now. And we'll get back to, we'll turn the radar back on here so you can see where everything is. And this is where we're looking at, ooh, I thought I heard a pop or something, but man, plenty of lightning here, but here's that hail core. Okay, here's that hail core we're looking at near the Parker area, north of Covington there towards Itasca. So that's one severe storm. That severe thunderstorm warning continues until 9:30, and then all of Ellis County in this severe thunderstorm warning until 9:45. And there will be pockets of hail. This is mostly heavy rain, lightning, thunder at this time. Gusty winds in the I-35 corridor now. That's going to continue to move on to the east. And from there, so that will be what we're watching. And I'm a couple of questions asking where we're located. We are northeast of Waxahachie. And if you're asking for what state, this is Texas. This is between Dallas and Waco, Texas. So that's where we're looking at for this area. And Brandon, $5, thank you so much for that donation. He's asking for a mention of Italy. We're continuing to watch this slowly move southward. So the Italy area and the Milford area looks like you might get split between these 2 storms. So you may not see the heaviest of this, but there's still plenty of this moving through. And I'll also mention here too, you can see this moving southeast or almost southwestward really, almost due south here. So we'll be watching that move south, and that's bringing everything into Ennis, towards Bardwell, towards Avalon. Italy, and it looks like Forreston's probably getting this. Italy, you may start to get some of this pretty soon, but it may not last long as we're getting more westerly, west to east motion here of this storm. So the Milford area, the Italy areas, looks like you could avoid a lot of this, but that's kind of what we're seeing for that particular area right now. You've kind of not really seen anything yet, but it's headed your way. And when it comes to Navarro County specifically, starting to move into Rice here, and you'll get some of the lighter rain before the heavier stuff starts. And this will be moving towards Blooming Grove, towards Rice fairly soon. So that will be kind of what we're looking at as far as that's concerned. And Jamie, you're asking if we're done for the night. I think once we get through this round of storms, I don't expect to see another one. Now, what I will say is we do have this very heavy storm moving towards Weatherford. That should be moving more eastward towards the Metroplex. What will be interesting is to see if that storm takes a right turn to turn towards our direction. I'll of course be watching that, but at this time I'm not sure I'm too concerned about that right now. And as I mentioned before, if there is a power outage and we lose this stream, be patient, keep watching the Facebook page and the YouTube channel. I will be back in some kind of situation. A lot of the times out here, the power will just flicker, and sometimes that's just enough to kill the stream and make me have to sit here and wait for it to come back, reinvent the wheel and redo everything. So just if the stream does stop, donate. No, I'm kidding. Well, donate, but not like that's going to fix it. But if the stream does stop, it's usually just temporary. Right, so just give us the time to kind of get things recalibrated and started again, and we will do that. Again, apologies for how loud that sounds. For some reason, it's just really, really loud. So, and this is one of those things that we're getting into nighttime now, and these storms are going to look a whole heck of a lot worse than they are in some cases. Now, there's plenty of lightning, so the lightning is not playing around. Okay, wow, that's talk about the last frame there. I'm concerned now about a possible downburst or microburst situation just west of Bardwell. Look at this. You have that yellow that's just popped up there. So we could be looking at a downburst or microburst. This is going to produce very strong winds just west of Bardwell, just south of Howard, and just north of Rankin and Bird. This is southwest of Ennis right now. So in this area, possibly looking at a sudden microburst, and it can seem like that you're getting just this sudden out of nowhere blast of strong winds. I think that's what we could be seeing here. So just bear in mind that that's probably part of what we're seeing in this area. And I need to say that'll come up momentarily here, but could very well be looking at a microburst or downburst in this area. So not looking at any kind of tornadoes out of this. This is not a tornado situation. This is where winds are pushed out of a storm and they blast in all directions. And we should do a weather FAQ video. I need to start those. We'll do that this week. I did one kind of thing. I did one video for the cap, and we'll redo that. I'll be probably in front of the green screen that way I can visually show you. Yeah, we definitely need to be paying attention to the winds that are coming out of this. Thank you, Mindy, for the Venmo donation. That is greatly appreciated here. Oh, it was a truck. Okay, I heard a whew coming at me. I was like, okay. So here's the thing. You think about pouring water on a surface. It goes down and it goes all the way out, all directions. That's what we're seeing here. These strong winds, and we're talking winds up to 70 miles per hour with this storm. That's from the National Weather Service. A new warning will be coming out for Navarro County. So if you are in Navarro County right now, really the M House area over to Blooming Grove and Frost, those will probably be the areas that see the issues with this downburst first. Downburst or microburst, sometimes it's splitting hairs to get the difference between those two terms. But the effect is basically the same. that the air goes down and it spreads out, and can be a very, very bad situation. So make sure that you are paying attention in this area, and that we are. You want to be. I'm pretty concerned about this at this point. So that definitely needs to be paid attention to. Here's that new warning. So this is okay. They're just going by full counties here, folks. That's how large these storms are. So Navarro County, you get your own warning here. That warning until 10:15. Man, it's already 9 o'clock. 10:15. So basically the next hour, you have a severe thunderstorm warning for Navarro County. So this is going back to the good old days, man, when we had it was whole counties that were warned. And and I know there's a lot of discussion going on, a lot of comments and things. Thank you so much for everybody that's tuned in. Thank you to everybody that is following this stream. What I'll ask you to do right now is share this stream. Put this link out there. Hit the share button. If it's on YouTube, share the YouTube link on Facebook even to get people tuned into the YouTube stream, or just share the YouTube stream, whatever works for you. But let's get the word out there, especially in Navarro County, where everyone just got a notification of a severe thunderstorm warning, so that way they can be watching this and be watching to see what happens with this storm. And these winds, we will see them. There you go. So now we see these winds that are expanding here, and I am pretty concerned about how large this area is. My word. This is a large area of very strong winds moving towards the Ennis area here. So these winds are going to move out basically in all directions. So from Rankin and Byrd into the Alma area, Rice area here. Not what I wanted to do. So this yellow area is what I'm mostly concerned about. You need to be getting away from windows. You need to be getting away from anything. Hopefully you're not outdoors at this point, but I mean, this could blow down small structures. This can take down trees, can take down big limbs. This is a very concerning rush of strong winds in this area, probably one of the strongest I've seen in a long time. And the thing is that we are looking a little further away from the radar at this point. So this may not necessarily be as bad as it is on the surface here, but the National Weather Service, again, estimating 70-mile-per-hour winds possible. And I want to take a look at the. I've got to cheat here a little bit, and I want to take take a look at the enhanced Fujita scale. I'm cheating here. I want to make sure I'm thinking right. And well, that's not giving me estimated wind directions. That's what I need here. So, okay, so 70-mile-per-hour winds. Basically, you start an EF0 tornado. There's no tornadoes right now, but EF0 tornado strength starts at around 73 miles per hour. So if we have 70-mile-per-hour winds possible out of this, that's almost tornado strength winds. But here's the thing: they're not rotating. These are all winds that are all going in one direction, okay? If you think about you spinning around, okay, and then putting all of your strength in one direction, in one fell swoop, 70-mile-per-hour winds going in one direction can be dangerous. So you should be taking shelter in these places. At very least, get away from windows, away from exterior doors or exterior windows. And be taking shelter in the Bardwell area, Rankin Byrd. I would even say in the Ennis area, because this is going to continue to spread out. And I'm not surprised that power has been lost there. Okay, strong National Weather Service is noting here that 70-mile-per-hour winds in the warning. But if we continue to see this trend strengthen, I mean, we could be looking at 80-mile-per-hour winds. I mean, we really, and thank you, Eric. Let's see. Oh, I'm behind. Thank you, Adam, for the Venmo donation. Thank you, Eric, for the Cash App donation. I really appreciate that. If I don't say it now, I won't remember, and I want to recognize you guys. But I'm not surprised the power is lost here. I'm sure there's probably concerns with. I wouldn't be surprised if you're seeing some power flashes. If you see big green flashes, that's not lightning, that's power flashes, and with 70, almost 80 mile per hour winds possible, I mean, that's what we could be dealing with here. So these winds will continue to spread out, and every update we get out of this, we are going to be seeing that become an issue. So yeah, I'm fairly concerned about what we could be seeing out of this activity. And you know, this is going to continue to spread out. This is going to continue to broaden. And if we look at the reflectivity here, you can definitely see, yeah, you can definitely see an intensifying situation. There's probably hail in this. So you combine 80 mile per hour winds with hail, get away from windows, because think about, hail is heavy enough as it's coming in. Imagine hail being thrown at your window at 80 miles per hour, and that's what we could be seeing with the strongest winds possible in this storm. So you need to be getting away from windows. You need to be, and here it is. So yeah, that's getting towards the M house area now. So winds continue to intensify in the Bird area and the Rankin area. So this, you need to be taking this seriously. You need to be taking shelter right now. Basically as if you were looking at a tornado, because we could be looking at weak tornado strength winds. Even a weak tornado can do damage. So this is the area we need to be watching very, very closely here. So we're going to stay on this. This is by far the most dangerous part of any of the storms we have going on right now. And I'm sure there are people in Waxahachie and people in Ferris that are wondering what's going on there. Not this. It's not anything like this. So it's not near as intense. But if you are in the Ennis, anywhere between, really, between Ennis and Italy right now, and in those areas, if you're in Ennis, if you're in Italy, you need to be paying close attention to this. These winds moving into the Avalon area, going to be moving into the Italy area very soon. These will continue, let me make sure I do this right, continue to expand, right? They will move further east, they will move further west. It's like pouring water on a surface. It's going to go down, it's going to spread out in all directions. So these strong winds will be felt a good ways away. So please be paying attention to this. I know that straight line winds, people don't usually assign the urgency to straight line winds they don't traditionally assign the kind of urgency to that as you do tornadoes. There are no tornadoes here, but there could be tornado force winds in this storm. The warning for the Corsicana storm, they are adding that there is a concern for winds up to 80 miles per hour. So they're in northern Navarro County here. So north in the M House area, M House, Barry, Blooming Grove, you could be looking at very strong winds. M House was specifically mentioned, could be looking at 70 to 80 mile per hour winds tonight. Thank you, Jana, for the $5 donation. I appreciate that. So this is what we're watching right now. This is what we're concerned about, and this could easily be destructive winds between Ennis and Italy, between Garrett and Barry there in Blooming Grove. The M House area, the Rice and Alma area, you all need to be paying very close attention to this. And I know it's kind of hard to see some of your communities because of the radar here and because of the warnings and all the different things that are lit up here. But south of Garrett, north of Blooming Grove, this is the area between Italy and Ennis. All of this area, you need to be paying attention. You need to be taking shelter right now. You could have 70 to 80 mile per hour winds blowing out of this storm. There's been an intense downburst or microburst in this storm, so definitely be paying attention. This is a new severe thunderstorm warning that has been issued, this one specifically for those up to 80 mile per hour winds that are possible in this storm. So that goes all the way from Corsicana to the county line here, over towards Blooming Grove, including M House to Roan, almost to Rice there. So if you are in that area, I'm going to be saying it over and over again, be taking shelter right now. And I know you're probably looking at this going, hey, is that rotating? We are not concerned about rotating winds at this moment. Let's get back to the velocity. We are worried about these strong winds, these winds that are expanding, okay? They are moving, and it looks like we could be getting maybe hopefully towards the end of this downburst, because I think what you're going to see is they're going to see these stronger winds expanding, and then in the center, it calms down, right? Because you've finished the downburst by that point. But these strong winds are going to continue to spread out in all directions. So, and it looks like the strongest winds are moving into Navarro County now. So moving towards Corsicana, moving into Emhouse right now, possibly moving towards Blooming Grove, moving towards Roan on the other side of Corsicana there. This is what we're watching. This is what you need to be concerned about right now. I will say, Midlothian, you have been released. Midlothian and Venus have been released from the severe thunderstorm warning. So the severe thunderstorm threat, at least for the moment, is released there. But this is what we're mostly concerned about between Blooming Grove and Ennis, between Italy and Rice. This area, this is where those strong, powerful winds of up to 70 to 80 mile per hour winds. And again, I mean, you're talking, let me get back to this, 73 miles per hour to, and up to about 112 miles per hour. That's F1 tornado strength winds. So if we're getting 80 mile per hour winds here, that's F1 tornado strength. Okay, that is a low grade tornado that could be moving into your area in terms of wind strength. It's not rotating winds, it's straight line pushing winds. Okay, just imagine the force that goes into putting all of your weight into a push, a shove. That's what this storm is doing with 80 mile an hour wind strength. So no tornado threat here specifically, but the winds are just as strong in this area. So I need you to be taking shelter in northwestern Navarro County right now. This is going to be moving towards I-45. If you're in a broad vehicle, whether it be a van or a box truck or something of that nature on the highway, and you need to pull over, please pull over, do so, seek shelter. Do not pull under an overpass. No one of any vehicle should park under an overpass, because as this moves through, there may be a need for emergency response. That needs to be handled, and those emergency responses need to be paid attention to and need to be allowed to keep going. So do not pull under an overpass, because that will impede emergency response to any growing situations. So just make sure that you are, and Matt, if you would mind, put something in the radar only stream too, that you know, that area between Ennis and Italy, between, I would say, what, from Ennis down to Blooming Grove and Italy to Rice, basically that area needs to take shelter in the radar only stream. If you would do that for me, that way those folks can be warned as well, because we don't have the velocity there, so you're not seeing those winds on that stream. We're definitely looking at them here, though. This is the yellow area that, you know, the winds, it doesn't look like the winds have quite reached the Ennis area yet, but I would say, Ennis, if you are in that area, that you should, I would say, go ahead and take shelter. I believe the winds will probably be weaker by the time they reach the Ennis area, but it's still very much worth that area being covered. The National Weather Service now saying that a new storm in northwestern Johnson County is being monitored for a hail threat. So we will check that here momentarily too. But by far, the most dangerous part of this storm right now is in northern Navarro County, southern Ellis County right now. Again, from Bardwell to Blooming Grove, from near Rice over to Italy. That's where these strong winds are, and I'm wanting to see another scan here. Yeah, so it looks like the strongest winds will not reach the Ennis area, so I think Ennis will be okay. I think Italy, I think you won't see the strongest winds here. Really, it's continuing south of Bardwell, so it's this storm moving towards the Corsicana area now. So if you are in Corsicana, you have a storm moving your way that has very strong winds right now. We'll adjust this briefly. The yellow, this is where the strongest winds are. The National Weather Service is saying that winds of 70 to 80 miles per hour, that is strong, that is the same strength of a low-grade tornado that are moving into your area, but it's not rotating winds. These are winds that are shoving, okay? They're all in one direction. So that is what we're mostly concerned about right now I'm not seeing any kind of rotation with this. Now we are looking at some green here, so we will be watching that, because sometimes these microbursts and downbursts, when they can get kind of wrapped up. So it's not outside of the possibility. And I need to stop and say thank you, Michelle, for the donation. Thank you, Pamela. I hope I'm saying that right. Pamela, for the donation. I definitely appreciate those, both from Venmo. So thank you so much for that. When I collapse here in the next several minutes, I will be thinking about how amazing that is. But we need to keep folks warned in northern Navarro County. This is turning into a Navarro County issue here. The Bird-Rankin area, you still have these strong winds, but definitely moving into Navarro County now. So that's where we're mostly concerned. And, you know, tell you the truth, well, I'm trying to figure out this green, because it could be just a question of where we are in relation to the radar. The radar, of course, farther away. But we're getting farther away from the radar now. And what I'm seeing here is we're seeing this yellow kind of breaking up. Two things are possible. One, it could be that the winds are dissipating a little bit. That's my hope. But two, it could just be that we're moving farther away from the radar. And the Earth is curved. Yes, it's curved. And your radar beam is looking straight. So it's looking higher and higher as you get lower in elevation. Not only are you getting farther away and the Earth is curving, but you're losing elevation because you're getting closer to the Gulf here. So we're looking higher and higher up in the storms, and the winds are moving down. So just because you're seeing the yellow kind of breaking up here does not necessarily mean that those winds are not there, that they're not as strong. It's just kind of a trick of the radar. That's what we're looking at. So when you're looking across, when you're looking at these winds going out, that's very possible. And the radar beam, the way it is, the way it's looking higher and higher up into the storm, then, you know, that can be deceiving. So just, I want you to understand those strong winds are probably still there, even though it looks like it's kind of breaking up. Again, it is my hope that we are looking at you know, that we're looking at these winds coming through. And I see a very cleverly named thank you, Gutter Up, for the $10 donation. And I get that's a business name, but I'm contractually obligated to remind you that Synergy Roofing does gutters as well. So that's just doing what I have to do. But a question about Waxahachie. Yes, this is past Waxahachie now. There may still be some rain going on in the Waxahachie area. It looks like there is. But the strongest part of this whole situation is definitely in western and northwestern Navarro County right now. This is moving towards Corsicana. That's going to be the next larger population area impacted by this storm. And we'll go back to the traditional reflectivity here where we can see that. So this storm continuing to move into Navarro County, those strong winds from Barry to Emmahouse towards Rice, continuing to move towards Corsicana. This has a history, and I don't know if they're still being produced now, but this has a history of producing 70 to 80 mile per hour winds. A new severe thunderstorm warning has been issued for Johnson County, so we're going to bounce right back off to the northwest and take a look at that storm. Increasing hail concerns with this storm as this is moving through Joshua right now, moving towards Keene. So just keep that in mind, and we're seeing an increase in this storm. They're starting to broaden again over northern Hill County. So from Covington, where it looks like the heaviest precipitation and possibly some hail is right now, over towards Itasca and Carl's Corner, all the way back to Huron and down to Hillsborough right now. So that severe thunderstorm warning does continue, I think, for at least another 3 minutes. So that we'll have to watch and see if that's going to be reissued here. I imagine it probably will be. But this storm moving into Hillsborough now, so could be some small hail with that. The most dangerous storm right now is this one that's moving into Navarro County right now. You're probably getting some small hail from Ennis on down towards Bardwell right now, but the strongest part of the storm is right here where it's moving ahead, and that's going to be the most intense part of this, moving right into Corsicana here over the next few minutes. Let's get back to this velocity so we can get a better view. We could be looking at some very broad rotation at this time in this area. Not anything that has me immediately concerned about rotation, but as I mentioned, sometimes you can be looking at these downbursts or these microbursts, and they can cause a little bit of swirl there. The environment as it is not necessarily conducive to tornadoes, but this is something that we'll be watching. So you can see the greens and obviously the very strong winds from Blooming Grove towards M House, moving towards Corsicana right now, really just outside of Corsicana. So as that's moving in, and thank you, Matt and Elizabeth, for the donation through Venmo. I greatly, definitely appreciate that. So this is going to continue southeastward and into Corsicana. So Corsicana, you are under the gun for this storm and very, very strong winds. Has a history of, from the National Weather Service, 70 to 80 mile per hour winds possible. And Matt, are you hearing any kind of chatter regarding these storms? Anything else? Okay, so not much chatter from folks in from spotters necessarily here from this, but I am monitoring the National Weather Service, and I'm able to hear from emergency management some there too. So we will continue to watch this, and the main thing is that if you're in the Corsicana area right now, Corsicana, Oak Valley, you should probably be taking shelter right now, because at these strong winds, again, I said 73 miles per hour is the floor, the baseline for an F1 tornado. I don't have a tornado in this right now, but that's tornado force winds that are moving your way. Those are straight line winds that are going to be moving into that area. So definitely be paying close attention to that. Pay close attention in this area, because as this continues on to the southeast, moving into the Navarro County, into the Corsicana area, and moving along I-45, hitting that highway, this could cause some serious problems. And Morgan, thank you so much for, and Morgan experienced these winds a few days ago, strong winds in the Corsicana area. And thank you, Morgan, for putting great information in the chat there. That definitely that definitely helps. I appreciate all of the great conversation in the chat that has been going on. That has been fantastic so far. We're getting reports of winds in Milford and Italy. I don't think you're looking at the 70 plus mile per hour winds that we could be looking at in this storm. You're kind of going to be getting the outer effects of this, right? You're not going to be getting those very intense winds, but for the most part, I think you will be looking at just some lighter winds that are coming off of this. And I think even up to Waxahachie, we could be feeling the winds, the lighter winds, outflow winds from this. Let's get a broader view, because I know there's a lot of folks tuning in from all over the place. And it does look like the Waxahachie area, if you're behind this storm, right now, it does look like you're done, at least for now. I don't know if you're done for the night. We'll get a broader look here in a moment. But Midlothian and Waxahachie, things have moved out there, but I don't know if I would say it's safe to go outside. See how much lightning is being produced by this storm. Not safe yet to go out and look around outside at this point. If we get a broader view of really all of north central Texas here, still a very powerful storm near the Weatherford area, west of Fort Worth, and then north of Dallas, northeast of there, storms continuing. And we've been talking about this storm, kind of a small storm, north of Cleburne there, bit of a hail threat there. Looks like there's not a severe thunderstorm warning right now for Hill County. Plenty of lightning associated with this storm, could be some small hail just south of Covington, but it does look like this is a non-severe storm that is allowing that did allow the severe thunderstorm warning to end there, but that should be paid attention to, because if we look at definitely probably looking at some hail south of Covington, I would say from nickel possibly to quarter size hail. Quarter size is usually your severe thunderstorm criteria there, but as we look at this storm, I'm not seeing a huge hail issue here. The main concern is those very strong winds, and we continue to see that moving closer to Corsicana now. Really looks like most of the winds going to go west of there. The strongest winds are from Blooming Grove to almost Corsicana here, moving through Barry now. Those are the strongest winds that we're experiencing at this time in this area. And just to get a few more communities there. So Dresden, they're going to be moving through there pretty soon. Drain as well. So these are all communities west of Corsicana that are getting the strongest winds at this time. Compact hail core over Covington. A new warning coming out for that Hill County storm. So I mean, it didn't last long. So a new severe thunderstorm warning until 10:30 for Hill County coming out now. We will watch that in just a moment. Thank you, Megan, for the donation. Thank you, Buddy, for the donation too, both through Venmo. Those are greatly appreciated. Let's get back over to Hill County. Look at that, the whole county. We're just getting back to the good old days here of just county-wide warnings. So this storm moving through Hill County right now, compact hail core just south of Covington. So really the strongest part of the storm is going to be west of Itasca here. So that's one area of concern that we are paying very close attention to. So that's moving into Hillsborough now. Could be some hail moving into Hillsborough very soon. Also Whitney, lots of lightning here as well. So that needs to be paid attention to. The Godley area, a 1-inch hail at this time. That's a report from the radio desk over at the National Weather Service. So they're keeping an eye on things too. I'm sure there's plenty of power outages all the way through this storm, especially west of Corsicana, where the strongest winds are continuing here. So, and just a quick couple of things housekeeping-wise, and I'm going to keep this up here so you can see where these strong winds are. Again, the yellow, that's the strongest winds in this storm. Looks like we could be looking at another cycle up of this, and that's going to be your strongest winds south of Blooming Grove there. Let's zoom in a little more so you can see more communities. Again, drain over to Dresden. This is the strongest winds, that we're looking at. I want to thank all of the, Ashley, thank you so much for the Venmo donation. Those keep coming through. I appreciate all of that. I'll be taking my family out to breakfast tomorrow morning, I think, to repay them for having to sit here and deal with me. I'm told the warning in Ellis County will be allowed to expire on time. So that's going to be another 10 minutes here? Another 10 minutes. The warning in Ellis County will be allowed to expire. But if you will share this stream, hit the share button, hit the like button, all that good stuff. Make sure this is shared so that folks can be paying attention to all of this coverage, and make sure that people are prepared, especially in Navarro County right now. I'm very concerned about these strong winds. And let me just check and see what's going on over. So thank you, Matt, for keeping up in the radar-only stream, too. There is a radar-only stream. If you don't want to see me zooming in on one place or another, you can go over to the radar-only stream, the live radar stream, as it's called, exclusively on the YouTube channel, and that will allow you to just watch the radar. You don't have to watch me. You don't have to listen to me. You don't have to watch me bouncing around. Or sometimes people will listen to my coverage, but also watch the full radar to see the whole area. So that is just an option that you have for you there. So again, west of Corsicana, south of Blooming Grove, south of Barry, this very strong winds, could be seeing 70 to 80 mile per hour winds out of this storm. So that's the main area of concern right now. That's really the biggest issue. Now, south of Covington, north of Hillsborough, looks like there could be a concentrated hail core there. We're talking $quarter to $half sized hail. That's nothing to shake at too. So keep in mind in that area, that needs to be paid attention to. But here in Navarro County, this is by far the strongest storm that we are looking at. The whole county is under a severe thunderstorm warning right now, and it's moving pretty quickly. And so as this, he's like the HEB of weather radar. Hopefully I'm not that crowded, right? I mean, HEB in Waxahachie, they just built a new parking, and it's already full. I mean, it's just crazy. And thank you to Lindsay for the $20 donation. So this continues to move on to the southeast, and Richland is kind of going to be the next under the gun for this. I'm sure there's more communities in between there, but definitely be paying attention. If you're on the west, the southwest side of Corsicana, that's where the strongest winds are moving right now. Now, the Corsicana area getting some gusty winds too, but the strongest winds appear to be from between Oak Valley and Dawson here, moving right across 31 right now. So this is where we have those stronger winds about to move through in Navarro County. This storm is moving pretty quickly, kind of probably anchored by this storm here And okay, nickel-sized hail just passed through Covington. So a report of nickel-sized hail over in Northern Hill County. So that is, we are paying attention to that too. And let me just go back through some questions here. And things are calming down for Waxahachie. Waxahachie, there's no severe weather threat for Waxahachie right now. The warning in Ellis County will be allowed to expire in about another 7 minutes. So that will be taken care of that in the next several minutes here. That will clear out that warning. Let's go back to just the regular reflectivity. Starting to lose the mouse here. I think the mouse is about as exhausted as I probably am. North of Cleburne, could be looking at more of a hail threat there west of Burleson. Again, that's Chisholm Park Trail there, as I learned tonight. So you're going to be paying attention to possibly a hail threat there. Hail threat north of Hillsborough there, going to be crossing 35 west pretty soon as this storm continues on to the southeast. And then this very powerful storm in Navarro County right now, it is clearing out of Ellis County. So really Navarro County is the only area with concern for this storm. Very strong winds, 60, 70, possibly up to 80 mile per hour winds at this point in that storm. So there goes the warning for Ellis County. So Ellis County is cleared out from warnings right now. Warnings continue for Johnson, Hill, and Navarro counties at this time. Now there is a storm that is going to be moving through the Metroplex now. So this storm in Weatherford, really just north of there, will be continuing to move on to the east. So we will see that continue on there. So just if you're in the Metroplex, you're probably not watching me, but just bear in mind that that storm is moving that way, and it doesn't look like that storm will be moving into our area. Now, this storm in the Granbury area, moving towards Glen Rose, may move into our area as well, so we'll have to watch that one too. National Weather Service still saying the winds up to 70 miles per hour are possible with this storm in Navarro County, saying that the winds may have come down a little bit. That is absolutely great news, and we have a new update here. It's still moving across 31, moving rather quickly here. And thank you, thank you, Stephen, for I see a couple of. Thank you for the $20. I see what you did there, but thank you so much for the $20 donation through the Cash App. I really appreciate that. That is phenomenal, and I know there's ways to reply to that, and trust me, we'll get to that probably later tonight or tomorrow. You'll get your reply from me. But this continuing to move through, the winds do appear to be weakening some, but this is moving right towards the Richland area, towards Curry, really on the west side and the south side of Corsicana here. So that's where you need to be watching. This is continuing to move on to the southeast. 70 mile per hour winds. What is this? So nice to hear a weathercaster say Navarro. How else would you say? Well, Navarro, I guess. Well, that's the thing is, in Star Wars, I'm a big Star Wars fan, so, but in Star Wars, there's actually a new planet called Navarro. So I'm sure that did you guys no favors in making people, oh, look, Navarro. Well, it's just like Waxahachie. We're going down to Waxahachie. Can't stand it. Navarro County. Hopefully people watch Cheer enough to hear Navarro County, Navarro College, that kind of thing. I actually know someone that didn't make the connection of the two. It was weird. But the strongest winds are in Navarro County. See there, I did it. Navarro County right now on the west side of Corsicana. And these are strong winds. Again, we're talking up to 70 miles per hour. F1 tornado, 73. Not very far off. So tornado force winds possible with this storm. No tornadoes reported, no tornadoes on the ground, none of that. But we are in Navarro County, southwest of Corsicana, up to 70 mile per hour winds possible with this storm. This is nothing to shake a stick at. This is absolutely nothing to not be concerned about. And thank you, Bethany, for the $20 donation. I greatly appreciate that. So west of Corsicana, this continues on, and we will be looking at more issues as we go on with this storm. And it's just absolutely been a beating. So here's what I wanted to see. Here's another update. So it looks like the winds are coming down in that storm finally. Let me see if I can get an update here. And uh, Matt, are you able to get numbers from Encore? Is that something that you can get? Um, okay. I think they can break it up by county, so we'll try to bring you those numbers here in a moment. Okay. Yeah, so just checking a couple of sources there, but we are looking at the winds coming down southwest of Corsicana. So the good news is that we are finally seeing this storm kind of calm down a little bit with the winds. It's possible that when these winds calm down, we could see this storm start to weaken. It's been dark for a minute now, and daytime heating is a big part of strengthening these storms, or at least maintaining them. So we could possibly see the core fall out of this storm and the whole thing start to weaken. So I won't be surprised over the next few minutes if we could, be looking at possibly weaker winds in general here. Yeah, Matt, let's go ahead. If you want to text those to me, because if you sit there and tell me, I'm I ain't gonna remember them. It is too late at night for that. So Matt is going to send me some numbers from Encore, and then I'm sure he can put those in the chat as well. I'm sure a lot of people are wondering about power outages. I'm sure we've got a lot of power outages right now, considering this. Just the impact from this. I am looking at the, I can see on the radar farther away, the old radar only stream that helps me too, that this storm moving into Navarro County it's shrinking at least. It's not as large. Okay, that warning, that intense wind, severe thunderstorm warning is gone now. So that definitely helps. But yeah, this storm, and the strongest winds are in the bottom of this storm. So this is where you see the strongest winds. I want to show you just the regular reflectivity here. And you can see that the storm is starting to kind of shrink a little bit. So, but still plenty of lightning on the backside of this storm. So in Ennis and Italy, those areas, it's not safe enough to go outside quite yet. You want to stay inside and stay safe. Okay, so here's the numbers, and these will be in the chat as well. Estimated from Encore, 3,037 customers without power, 502 in Navarro County, 156 in Hill, and 1,182 in Johnson. I'd be skeptical in Navarro County. Now, what I will say is that Navarro County Electric Cooperative, I'm sure, is in this area too. In fact, I know it's in this area. That's what I'm on, and their numbers are not included. So that could be part of the reason that, to me, the Encore numbers are a little low in terms of power outages there. But it could easily be that, number one, those numbers are just not caught up yet. Two, it could be that, again, Navarro County Electric Cooperative is not included in that. And that's going to be a lot of these customers, especially a lot of these rural customers where this just went through. So just don't be, if that number sounds low, that's why. At least that's my estimation. Thank you, Karina, for the $20 donation through the Cash App. That was greatly appreciated. So from Blooming Grove, and there's another update. This storm continuing to move through Navarro County right now, moving towards Richland now. And the good news is this storm is moving fairly quickly. Now, I know that there's a lot of this area that has been dealing with a lot of rain over the last few days, and localized flooding could be a concern there. So as we keep watching this, we will continue to pay close attention we'll be paying attention to that wind threat as it moves towards Richland, and that will eventually move south towards the Fairfield area. So the good news is that it's not dropping a lot of rain. I lost my train of thought there because something popped into my ear, but the good news is that it's not dropping a lot of rain in the same place for too terribly long. Now, it's going to feel like forever, I'm sure, in Corsicana, but it's not too terribly, it's not, the flood issue, at least, the flood threat is not terribly bad. Now, I will say in flood-prone areas, you could still see some flood problems, but it doesn't look like it's too terribly intense in that area right now. Now, I want to make sure we get back over to the west here. The storm north of Cleburne looks like that is weakening here. That's a great sign there. And thank you so much to Steve for the Venmo, the $50 donation through Venmo. That is greatly appreciated. That coming from, and I do, since he sent that, I do need to make sure you understand the Synergy Roofing. If you've had, now, we were talking hail damage last night. Wind damage tonight through Navarro County. Navarro County has just been getting the absolute beating the last couple of days. But if you do have shingles in your yard and those kind of things, don't worry about going up on your roof by yourself. Guys, seriously, let the professionals do it, okay? Let the professionals get up there. Synergy Roofing, it's a free inspection. You're not paying for it. You can save a lot of money, though, and save a lot of time and pain if you fall off of that roof trying to get up there. And we men, you know, we like to do everything ourselves. Our wives are telling us, don't get up there. We don't want to listen to it. We want to do it. Trust me, guys. Trust me. It will really, really help to allow a trained professional to get up there. When it comes to your insurance claim, right, you got to have the right information. They're going to make sure you have what you need. So, hey, just make sure that you are going and letting a professional, okay, let a professional do the work of making sure that you get the information you need and the coverage you need from what's on your roof, but let them do that to keep you on the ground and safe. And William Palmer's talking about tornadoes and baseball-sized hail. Not tonight. Not quite tonight. Okay, and I got a couple of people asking what the Venmo is. We can post. I think they're probably going to post that. Yeah. So there's the Venmo. We'll get the Cash App and stuff posted too. I usually post the link to the PayPal. I don't think I've done that. That just kind of sits there. So if you really want the PayPal, send me a message. I'll get it to you. But I'm not going to grab that right now. Now, a late report from Johnson County Emergency Management of 2.5 inches in Godly. Let me look. Let me check on this because I want to make sure I'm reading this right, because I can't type either, so that doesn't help. Man, I cannot type right now. Okay, just trying to clarify that that's a hail size, because, man, 2.5 inches. Good grief. And that was a late report. That was at about half an hour ago. But there's still this storm north of Cleburne from Keene back towards, again, Chisholm Trail Parkway. I said Chisholm Park Trail earlier, but it's Chisholm Trail Parkway. I'm going to make sure I get that right. That is really been a hail threat there. So let me take a look at the velocity. Not really looking at too much of a wind issue here. Could be some, looks like there's some gusty winds, possibly an outflow boundary coming through Cleburne right now. So 30 to 40 mile per hour winds possible there. But you know, that's not showing up on radar as anything. Yeah, so I think that's going to be an outflow boundary moving through there. Somebody just very timely questioned about Hillsborough, and again, we're looking at. Let's go to the velocity here. Not much of a wind threat in Hillsborough right now, so not really too concerned about that. Going to be mostly a hail issue in Hillsborough. So you can see the red here. Not looking at the gray that we were seeing a moment ago that denotes larger hail, but could still be looking at maybe some nickel to quarter-sized hail moving into Hillsborough from Woodbury area in the next few moments. So that's what we're looking at. Okay, yeah, so a report of the hail size in Godly, 2.5 inches. 2.5 inch hail size in Godly. And I think, if I'm reading that right, I think that was about half an hour ago. So my gosh, that is, I don't want any part of that. But again, if you're concerned about roof damage, don't go climbing on your roof by yourself. There are professionals at Synergy Roofing that will do that for you. Okay, I don't like climbing on my roof. I just don't. It's just a fact. I avoid it if I can, because all I can see is how far away from the ground I am. And there are trained professionals, experienced, very much experienced professionals at Synergy Roofing who will get up there for you. So Synergy Roofing on Facebook to go find them and to get those folks on your side. So make sure that you're getting in touch with Synergy Roofing for that. West of Oak Valley, in Oak Valley, west of Corsicana now, possibly looking at some hail. The wind continues to weaken here, so very, very good signs as this starts moving into Richland. We could still be seeing, per the National Weather Service, could still be looking at 60-mile-per-hour winds there, but we're definitely losing that wind threat that we had. And if we put this into motion, you can see that. So look at this. Look at the yellow that we had north of there and very quickly weakening as it moves towards Richland. So a great sign from the wind threat there. We'll look at the whole radar here. And thank you, Amber, for the $10 donation. That is fantastic. Man, we've had $50 donations, a ton of 20s. Man, y'all are incredibly generous. I mean, I can't even imagine how what that looks like now, but you know, that's your generosity. It really does. It encourages me. You know, we're getting towards 10 o'clock tonight. I've been on live for, man, we've been going for what, 2.5 hours now? I mean, it adds up, and I'm on my feet, that kind of thing. And it's really encouraging to get that kind of support because it keeps it free. I don't have to charge anything. To me, that's a conscience issue. I never want to charge for this information. And the advertisements and the all of the donations through the Venmo and Cash App and that kind of thing, it really does help. I really apologize for how loud that cup is, but it's just terrible. So a report from emergency management down in Navarro County, reports of large trees down, lines down from in-house area south to Highway 31, still running several calls. So plenty of reports there. If you see a power line down, do not drive over it, do not play with it, don't try to move it. I mean, really, you would think that's common sense, but as you get into Navarro County, the best place to send those damage reports is the Office of Emergency Management. That's going to be your best contact there. They will make sure you get the resources and the attention that you need to keep your property safe, to keep the roads safe, that kind of thing. So Eric Myers, the emergency manager over in Corsicana and in Navarro County, going to be the best place to send that information about those damage reports because they are able to directly get that aid to you. They are fantastic at it. He runs a pretty strong operation. So if you have damage from those winds, and likewise in Ellis County, if you have damage from those winds in the Bardwell area, direct that to the Ellis County Sheriff's Department and the Ellis County Emergency Management Office. There's a new emergency manager in Ellis County. She is wonderful, and she will make sure, and that whole office will make sure that you know the correct resources are sent there. So we'll go around the area. One quick look at Navarro County. The heavy rain, possibly some small hail, continues from Oak Valley down towards Richland. Still some 50 to 60 mile per hour winds possible with that storm. That continues to move on to the southeast here. We'll put that in motion. If you're you're really Corsicana east, heavy rain there, obviously some gusty winds, but not anything too terribly concerning there. Hill County, some pockets of hail possible in this storm, some gusty winds possible there too, but a little more of a run-of-the-mill severe thunderstorm at this point. A lot of lightning, heavy rain there, but nothing too extremely concerning. And then from Cleburne on towards Alvarado and towards Lillian, that area looks like we could be looking at a little bit of a hail threat. I want to kind of take a closer look into that storm real fast and see what the hail threat looks like. Looks like a weakening hail threat there in the Keene area. So could be some small hail there, but nothing too concerning. A lot of these storms are weakening because, again, we've lost daytime heating. So this storm will be moving towards western Ellis County here. and looks like that could be strengthening just really in that last frame. So could be looking at a stronger storm there. It almost looks like an alpha boundary moved in and probably gave that storm some new lift. So that's probably why that storm is strengthening for a little bit. And then off to the west here, it could be another storm. It looks like, again, same situation. Maybe an alpha boundary got pushed there. That will be moving into parts of western Johnson County there. So continuing storms, and they are just persisting here, and looks like the storms in southwest Tarrant County, southern Parker County could be moving towards Johnson County here. So everything kind of getting pushed to the southeast here a little bit, and an alpha boundary does appear to have kind of bolstered these last couple of storms just in that last frame. But I will say that the sun is going down. It continues to drop, and so the more we see that happen, the more we're going to be looking at these storms that will very possibly weaken generally. And we've seen that in the Navarro County storm. The very powerful winds that we saw, the very concerning winds, have continued to weaken there. And the Hill County storm, it's generally weakening. Still plenty of heavy rain there. And you can see how many lightning strikes are still... There we go. There's that update. How many lightning strikes were left from that one storm. But it looks like this storm could be moving towards everywhere from Midlothian towards Maypearl here, down towards Grandview and Rio Vista through the Corsicana area there too. And then this storm moving into far western Johnson County, moving into the Glen Rose area too. So that's likely what we're seeing there. And then again, Hillsborough, heavy rain, plenty of heavy rain in Navarro County too, possibly some localized hail. Not much happening in Waxahachie right now. Ennis or Italy, looks like Italy in the Milford area. You could be looking at some lighter. Could be looking at some conditions there, bringing you lighter rain and that kind of thing too. And let me just check and see what other stuff I'm getting here. And okay, let me just check and see what I've got that just came in from Twitter here. Okay, so just some traffic issues in Dallas. Yeah, lots of reports of power wires, phone wires, electric wires down. And again, if you see a wire on a roadway that is down, you do not want to mess with that. You want to make sure that any damage reports are reported to your local sheriff's department or the emergency management office. Normally, all those agencies are going to be working together. Again, great operation in Navarro County. They'll be working on the damage from those very strong winds that went through there. And this storm, I had a question about Fairfield. The storm will continue on towards Fairfield. I don't really have a timeline for you. I would say it's probably going to be in Fairfield within the hour. So, you will need to watch that. But the storm does appear to be generally weakening some. So hopefully the storm is not as strong when it moves through, that particular area. And, so just multiple reports of power outages across the area. Unfortunately, I think that the power outages are going to be what is really left from all of this. Power outages in Waxahachie, I'm sure in Corsicana, Hillsborough probably getting some now. And Matt posted those numbers earlier, but that's going to be a big part, I think, of what we're going to see out of this storm as we go forward the next several hours here. And we'll continue to monitor all of this. This is all hopefully coming to a close soon. I know that, I know that some people like to sleep in thunderstorm noise, but this might be a little much. This might be a little more than you're really bargaining for at this point. So I know that that's probably more than what you want to be putting up with, but trying to check. Okay, cool. Yeah, so that'll work. All right. So we continue to pay close attention to these storms. Although, like I say, they are weakening. Let's take a look at just the whole area, the velocity here. We had those very strong winds that continue to weaken in Navarro County, possibly some gusty winds there with that storm in Hillsborough, gusty winds moving south of Cleburne there, and and then we look at the look area wide at the hail issues. Looks like south of Corsicana, maybe some small hail. Really, this is just mostly a wind producer at this point. Could be some larger hail over towards Hillsborough. I would say probably nickel-sized hail there. Same thing on the east side of Cleburne there. Probably some nickel-sized hail there. Larger hail just on the other side of the border with Hood County there, moving into Somerville County. Just outside of Johnson County, and then between Tolar and Hill City here in Hood County, looking at a larger hail core there in that storm. And let's kind of give everybody an idea of where things are going here. So what you can expect. This storm going to be moving southeastward, could affect parts of western Ellis County. It looks like there's some rain heading towards Midlothian right now. This will be moving down towards Maypearl, 5 Points, Boz, eventually probably Forest and Italy area. I don't think that will do much to eastern Ellis County. This storm looks to be possibly moving southeastward towards portions of southwest Johnson County, possibly northern Hill County eventually. This storm continuing to move through Hill County. Looks like a little bit of a wind increase there moving towards Abbott and west. That will continue on to the southeast towards Hubbard, and that will move eventually into northern McLennan County there and towards Mejia and Groesbeck. And then the storm that we've been watching in Navarro County there, going to be moving into the Wortham and Fairfield areas over the next several minutes. So that's kind of where we're at right now. Things have largely calmed down. We're still looking at the possibility of some hail across the area and strong winds, not the damaging winds we saw earlier. But definitely, definitely a an area to be concerned about for sure there. And let me see if I can grab. Bummer. All the side I had a blackberry cider there. It's all gone. Bummer. Nothing like a little. Nothing like a beer to top off a crazy stream, huh? Ennis, a question about Ennis. Yeah, so Ennis, there should be, Ennis should be quiet. Or let me not use quiet, let me knock on wood. Ennis should be calm, I would say, for most of the evening here. We'll have to watch and see what this does if that expands further eastward, but I don't think anything is headed towards Ennis for a while now. And let me look back in the comment section here. Again, I think I've caught up on everybody, but thank you so much for all of the Cash App donations and Venmo donations. I mean, that's been amazing. I think we got one through YouTube there as well. So all of that support is incredibly humbling. Later on this evening, I'll finally get a chance to sit down and actually tabulate all that and see what all that looks like. But that is greatly appreciated. Just amazing. And that will definitely, like I said, I'll probably be taking my family out to breakfast in the morning to kind of celebrate your support, celebrate a successful stream, and give them a little bit of my time because I've been so busy the last couple of days, right? So we'll go ahead and do that for them. So that'll be fun. So as I mentioned before, if you want to, what did I call it before? The coffee coffers. If you want to continue to beef up the coffee coffers, go ahead and, we'll post the Cash App and the Venmo again. I think we can probably do that. I know that most of us have logged out for the night, probably sick and tired of weather. But here's the thing. We could still be looking at strong to severe thunderstorms tomorrow night and Tuesday night. We could be doing this over and over again here. So, you guys are probably going to be sick and tired of me by the time we get to Tuesday night, and trust me, I'll be sick and tired of it too. Pretty sure my family will be as well. They'll be like, "Oh my God, stop!" What is the meme with one of my favorite people? Oh gosh, who is it? Gonna live in a van down by the river. Who is that? What's his name? Uh, Chris Farley. Thank you, Matt. It's Chris Farley, and he's screaming. One of his bits where he's screaming, you know, and he says, "For the love of God, stop raining." I'm pretty sure that's what folks in Corsicana are probably saying right now with all the rain that they've received and all the rain they continue to get, and probably Hill County too. So just, we're happy for the rain in June. Trust me, we love it. But it's just like, come on, give us a break. I got 6 puppies making a huge mess in my laundry room right now. I would love for all of this activity to get out of here and make it to where they can sleep outside more. So the storm headed for Saginaw. That's where even Saginaw is Fort Worth, isn't it? Tarrant County. I mean, it's going that way. Let me move it out of the way of the banner there, if I can. I'm losing the mouse here, so it's probably, I think this is the most the mouse has been used for a while. So I might be losing ambulatory control here. North Fort Worth, I think Saginaw, right? North Tarrant County. That storm continues to move on to the east, so it's headed your way. Haven't really paid much attention to it because this is a south of the metro page, but you know, it's headed that way. So I would, you know, take with that what you will. And we continue to see this storm in eastern Johnson County kind of picking up pace. So that's going to be moving into Grandview soon towards Rio Vista. This storm over in Hood County looks like the strongest part of that will stay west of Johnson County, moving towards Glen Rose now, should continue on towards Morgan. Could pick up a little bit more of an easterly track though as we go through the evening, and all of this is kind of losing its strength. We'll start to see prevailing winds probably take some of that more easterly, and we get into Ellis County here and even up towards Mansfield now. New development there, so we can't even just stick with the stuff we got. We got new stuff coming in, so not that we really need or want it, but there it is. So you know, even back to the Benbrook area. So this is what we've got. We've just got coverage of more and more storms across our area, and the winds are dying down now, and looks like we're looking at a decent bit of hail south of Hillsborough there. That will again be moving towards the Abbott area, towards Hubbard, and then down towards really the areas probably east of Waco there eventually as that continues on. And could be looking at some hail south of Whitney as well, and then hail on the east side of Cleburne there, moving towards Grandview. So, and this storm weakening as it starts to move out of Navarro County here. So Navarro County is going to be done pretty soon, at least for this round of storms, and I don't think we'll see any more tonight. I think tomorrow night we have another chance, and then the night after that we have another chance, and then Wednesday looks dry. And then we're in the triple digits, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So that's just the way the forecast is falling right now. And that's kind of where we're at. So we may be doing this a couple more times a week, but things will stop, but then we'll be complaining about the heat. So, you know, just get ready for that. And we'll have more on that in tomorrow's forecast update video that we will be doing. And we'll talk about those continued chances for severe weather as well. So here's what we're looking at across our area. Continuing storm in Hill County here, just moving into the Abbott area towards west, and moving into Hubbard there, possibly over towards Dawson. Some heavier rain in the Milford area right now. Italy, you'll be getting some rain here soon as well. Heavy rain west of Cleburne, west and east of Cleburne now, moving into western Ellis County, northern Hill County there. And then, of course, this storm that is slowly but surely weakening in southern Navarro County here. So let me go check the comments here. Man, after that wind, it seems like everything else is just kind of, everything else is relatively calm. So new severe thunderstorm warning covering part of Hill County here. The warning has been canceled for Navarro County, so Navarro County no longer under a severe thunderstorm warning. That has been allowed to expire. New warning for southern Hill County here, moving into northern McClendon County, northern Limestone County there. So that is for that storm. That continues to move towards those areas, eventually moving out of Hill County. We'll check velocity here just to make sure we're not looking at any kind of, and we are, okay, so we are looking at some increasing winds right around Abbott here. So if you're in the Abbott or west area here, be watching that closely because you could be looking at a downburst wind situation developing there. Doesn't look like it. Looks like that's not as sudden as what we saw in Navarro County, but increasing winds nonetheless in that area. So that will need to be paid attention to as that begins to move into northern parts of McLennan County here. And okay, getting some stuff, just some spam stuff that I was able to knock out there. But yeah, gustier winds west of Abbott, moving towards west now. So not what we saw in Navarro County for sure. More gusty winds along an outflow boundary moving towards the Blum area, moving towards Itasca there, so just be aware of that. And then again, it's really the hail threat that we're looking at for the storms outside of Cleveland, but that even looks to be weakening a little bit, falling apart. Looks like that peaked there for just the briefest moment, and then I think that's weakening as well. And then in western and northwestern portions of Johnson County here, possibly some hail moving in, more spotty hail. The larger hail core looks to be staying to the west for now, into the Glenrose area. I'll tell you, definitely hail in southern Hill County right now, from north of Tyson there to Abbott, going to be moving into McLennan and Limestone counties there. So that storm is slowly but surely making its way. That could move towards the Penelope area and eventually Mount Calm there in Hill County as we go forward here. And we're looking at this hook here. I don't see anything that immediately makes me think of rotation. We'll take a look at the velocity again. And, you know, there's something to be said there. There is a hook, there is a notch, and we are looking at converging winds there, but I'm not entirely sure that I'm too concerned about rotation in that area right now. The atmosphere, even before sunset, was not too conducive to, wasn't very conducive for tornadoes generally, but I would say, especially for right now, not really that concerned with, not really that terribly concerned about that. Now, north of Abbott here, so here's kind of what we were seeing, that looking at a hail core possibly increasing there. We'll take another look at velocity. We'll let that update, and we're still looking at some heavier winds in that area, and so not extremely concerned about rotation at this very moment, but stronger winds definitely from Abbott down towards west right now, right along 35 west there, to be focused on there. And then that growing hail threat moving into the eventually towards the Penelope area over the next few minutes as well. So that's what we're seeing out of that storm. Okay, so I'm just following along in the chat there. This storm moving out of Navarro County, plenty of lightning and heavy rain with that, but that is no longer marked as a severe storm. So a big relief for Navarro County there. Up into Ellis County, western Ellis County, starting to get some more activity here. Definitely from Italy over to Maypearl up to Midlothian, more rain there. I think the hail threat will be moving into northern Hill County here. So Hill County, you have another heavy thunderstorm moving your way, and that will be bringing more of a hail threat to the Itasca area, eventually could be over towards Blum as well. So just hang tight. These storms are continuing, but I will say that the trend overall is that storms are weakening. That's just kind of what we're seeing. Even the storm north of Fort Worth there has been weakening. You can see that's really falling apart. And I think what might be keeping these storms going is I think we're seeing more outflow boundaries probably bouncing around, and those will add, even when you don't have daytime heating to provide lift, these outflow boundaries will provide additional lift and can even just kind of pops these storms up for a brief time. So these storms that are strengthening in Johnson County right now, they may not stay that way very long. This storm is strengthening in Navarro County here, Hill County. That may very well, and that could very quickly weaken just as quickly as it strengthened too. This is late spring, early summer. So the trend there usually is that these storms will pulse up, they strengthen, and then they start to weaken there again as well. And we have a moment here, so I just want to say again how thankful I am, how humbled I am by all of the donations through the Venmo and the Cash App there. I mean, those have just been blown up tonight, and I'm incredibly fortunate for all of your generosity. Just amazing. And then thank you for all that have shared, liked, and posted the links and stuff for the YouTube channel and the Facebook page, all of that good stuff. All of that makes a difference. All of that encourages me, keeps me going. It helps the brand grow, more importantly. So, thank you so much for all of your help in that regard as well. And I mean, we went through some pretty hairy times when we were looking at this storm in Navarro County. And I'm going through trying to catch up on some notifications here on the phone, trying to make sure I haven't missed anything. But just incredibly generous support from all of you. And for one, sitting around and listening to my voice is a big deal as well. That makes a big difference. So we'll hang tight here. Might be midnight before we're done with this stream, but we'll keep it going. Trying to get all these caught up here. Okay, so all right. Now the question about the storm moving into Waxahachie, it doesn't look like much is moving into Waxahachie. And yeah, we're already looking at this storm. I'm starting to see what could be signs of that one weakening too. So that's moving into northern Hill County there. Not much heading into Waxahachie. Could be some lighter rain, but I'm not sure that that's really going to affect our area here in Waxahachie. And yeah, so some hail threat here in this storm moving towards the Itasca area. And again, in the Godley area, going to be moving towards the... let me zoom in here a little bit more so I can see that better. Moving towards the Chisholm Trail Parkway through Godley towards Joshua right now. That will bring some hail with that. I don't think that's terribly large hail, probably nickel to quarter-sized hail, I think, for that particular area. And then moving down into southern Hill County here, that largest hail area just outside of Tyson, that's going to be moving into northern McLennan County here towards Wiggins and west. And then one area of hail just outside of Abbott going to be moving towards the Penelope area and eventually towards Mount Calm as well. Not much moving towards the Mertens area right now. You're just kind of getting the outer bits of this strong storm, this likely supercell thunderstorm in Hill County. So not much moving through Mertens right now. That storm to the north will be moving through this area in the next few moments. It doesn't look like that will be terribly intense very long. So that storm could very well be weakening very soon as that continues to move in towards the Itasca area. So we will continue to monitor that as we go forward. I want to check a couple of things, a couple of numbers, just to make sure the stream is still going strong here. Yeah, so we've been live for, 3 hours and 4 minutes here. So that's almost one of our, I think the longest we've been on air was 4 hours. And we could be going that late because these storms continue across this area. So really kind of the back edge as we zoom out, I know that some are asking what's left. So these storms from Glen Rose up towards Godley over into western parts of Ellis County towards Maypearl, all of this activity is kind of the back end. So once this moves through, and it looks to be moving into Hill County now, this storm moving more into the Waco, Groesbeck area here, so that storm will be exiting our area. And then these storms here are really the last bits of what we have going on. So these are really it. So we have this storm moving towards Groesbeck and Waco, and then this storm behind all of that that will be moving in. And there's some easterly motion here, some southeasterly motion here, so it's almost kind of hard to tell what's moving where. The 5 points area right now looks like there's some heavy rain, maybe moving towards 5 points. Most of this looks to be moving to stay to the west of you there. So I think most of that storm will stay to the west of 5 points, but there could be some heavier rain that briefly moves through there at this time. I know there's some more communication in the radar only stream, and I know there's questions there, but I'm not able to answer those questions in the radar only stream. Hopefully you're watching here, I can answer those here, but most of Ellis County should be done for the night, I think. I think that's kind of what we're looking at. Western Ellis County from Waxahachie and Italy westward might still see some activity tonight as this continues to move on to the east and southeast, so that's kind of what I'm expecting there. And okay, I'm getting a notice that that there's possibly a disconnection to the channels. I don't know if I'm. Hopefully, we're still live here. Okay, so we're still live. There was just a notification that made it sound like it might not be over on the streaming program there. So, but it sounds like we're good to go. This storm is intensifying now as it's moving into far southern Hill County, but also northern McLennan County here. And a downstream warning coming for the cluster of storms near Hood, Somerville, and Johnson. Hail up to ping pong ball size, and 60-mile-per-hour winds possible in that storm. So the two strongest storms right now. The storm moving into the Itasca area could have some small hail with it, not too terribly intense. The strongest storms are the one in Glen Rose and now the one moving out of Hill County here. So those are the two strongest storms at this time, and really the two last very intense storms that will be affecting our area. So the good news is for the South Metro area, this storm, it's increasing in intensity, but that is moving south towards the Waco area here. So eventually that will be moving out of the South Metro area. And then the other storm here, there is one moving towards Itasca, towards Italy here. It doesn't look like that storm is very severe at this time. It doesn't look to be intensifying at this moment. There's kind of this cluster west of Cleburne, some of this from Godley down towards Rio Vista there. That will continue on to the southeast. And then the other stronger storm is around Glen Rose. And National Weather Service is estimating that we could be looking at ping pong sized hail as the max from that storm there. I'm checking the phone, which is battery's dying now. Trying to make sure I'm not missing anything. So it doesn't look like Bardwell will have anything else tonight. I would say if Bardwell gets anything else tonight, it'll probably be light rain, possibly some moderate rain here and there, but not too terribly much for the Bardwell area. And it's a little hard to see exactly what these storms in Johnson County are going to do. Really, at this point, it's the western half of our area, Johnson and Hill County, so they're going to be getting most of the activity here as we go forward. So that will be really the focus over the next several minutes. And the warning for Hill County is still in effect. There's still some pretty strong, pretty large hail possible from west of Abbott going towards west, and then this part of the storm moving towards Penelope. But that storm will be eventually moving further southeast, into northern McLennan County and Limestone County as well. And man, it got not only did it get quiet here, and it's not quiet in Johnson County right now, but nothing seems too significant after all of that. Those winds in Navarro County from southern Ellis County moving into Navarro County, man, that was something. I'm going to be really interested to see what the damage might look like from all of that activity out that way. And again, I want to recap here that If you're worried about your roof, you think you've got roof damage, but you don't want to get up there by yourself, you don't want to get there up there at all, really. Synergy Roofing will get up there for you. I mean, they will get up there and actually take a look at everything and give you a chance to understand what's there. That way, you can make an accurate report to your insurance for the claim and that kind of thing too. So keep that in mind as well. Synergy Roofing, and it's under Synergy Roofing on Facebook. They will get up on that roof for you, let you know what's there, make sure that you have everything you need to know for the insurance claim, that kind of thing too. They don't do the claim for you, but they will make sure you have the information that you need to get that accurate claim and get a new roof. Get that roof replaced and get a good roof over your head for summer. And that way, these storms don't have to beat you. You can maintain your home, and it doesn't have to be something that breaks the bank. So the severe thunderstorm warning that goes until 11:30, and that's this is Bosque County here, western Bosque County, and northern Hill County here, western Johnson County. So that's this cluster of storms that really is going to be should be the last cluster to move through our area. This really big storm moving into the strongest part of that, moving into northern McLennan County now, still impacting the Abbott area right now. So far southern Hill County still getting hit with some pretty good sized hail from that storm probably. But from this storm here, from Glen Rose on to Cleburne and then down on to Grandview, with lighter rain in the Maypro area, that will be okay. A different report there. That will be moving on to the southeast as well. We'll put this into motion, and it does look like these storms are on a weakening trend. So I think, we continue to see the warnings issued, but I do think that these storms are slowly but surely going to be on a weakening trend. There's plenty of lightning still, plenty of thunder. They're making plenty of noise, at least. But I do think that we will be looking at we'll be looking at those storms kind of losing some intensity over the next several minutes. The sun is down, and that's just the way that works. When you have these storms, they are largely, not totally, but largely dependent upon daytime heating to keep going. And so they're largely dependent on daytime heating to maintain that strength. So as the sun has gone down, and once they don't have outflow boundaries to provide additional lift, they eventually just rain themselves out, weaken, and they're done. So I think Waxahachie, Midlothian shouldn't see too much more activity tonight. It looks like most of that is going to move into Hill County, and you can almost see the eastern portion of this kind of starting to erode away as well. Michelle and Cade is insisting on watching until you finish your live stream. Well, if Cade wants to stay up, that's one thing. You're the mom, that's your call. But I'm going to be up until this stuff either goes away or calms down, one of the two. And eventually, it's got to quit, right? Eventually, it will. But man, this is just one of those evenings where it just seems nonstop. It seems nonstop these last few weeks. It's just, we could be doing all of this tomorrow night. Come on. Dang, this is just not, not what we want to see. I'm getting some scratching here. Let's see. Oh. That would be Luna. That would be the dog. Ah, yes. She found the cozy bed. She's probably tired of all the thunder here, but she's going to curl up in that bed and probably go to sleep here pretty quick. She's you got a really cozy pet bed in here. So come here. Come on. You want to get up? No? Nope, she's cozy. She's not moving for anything. You want to come in? No, you don't want to move. I'd bring her on camera, but she found a pet bed, and now she's very cozy. She's not moving for anything. and not that I doubt it, or not that I blame her, but why do storms always seem to split and when they and die when they reach the 5 points area? Well, they seem to do that, but then there was a tornado there not too long ago, a few years ago. So everybody tells me, why do they always split over my house? Well, they do until they don't, right? It just, everybody says that storms seem to split, but then they tell me about the rain they got, and I say, well, it didn't split, did it? So, that's one of those fun kind of little things that people like to talk about. But I'm hearing that it's thundering in Garrett. And I don't know what would be causing thunder in the Garrett area. When you get to nighttime, the air is generally thinner, sound travels better, so you could be hearing thunder from either of these storms, really. But for the most part, I think you're not looking at new storms in the Garrett area. I think you're just hearing storms that are out around the area, further out. So in northern McLennan County here, far southern Hill County here, pretty good hail core built there and a little notch. So we'll check our velocity here and see. Could be some stronger winds there in northern McLennan County and the Leroy area. So, stronger winds increasing there. I don't see anything that has me immediately concerned about a tornado or anything like that, but stronger winds there. Definitely need to be paying attention to that in that area. So, could be some downburst winds possibly there, but that is associated with a notch. So the Waco media market will be needing to pay attention to that as that goes forward. And there could be some decent hail from between West and Penelope there. Some of that hail could affect the Mount Calm area too. Hearing reports of loud thunder in the Ennis area. So the National Weather Service noting that the core of the storm in this storm that we're looking at could be producing up to 2-inch hail. So pretty good hail size outside of West between there and Penelope. Again, if you're in the Mount Calm area, I would be prepared for some large hail as well over the next several minutes. It could be moving that direction. It could really cause some problems. And then we, of course, have this last cluster of storms, and you can see the lightning strikes. How many lightning strikes are there? Reported continuous reports of lightning in the Ennis area, and it looks like we do have that little strike there. Again, 30 miles outside of a storm, that's where you can get lightning. And when you have these anvils that are growing out of the storm, you can get lightning out of that anvil. You can even have cloud to ground or cloud to cloud lightning rather, where it doesn't actually reach the ground, but you can still hear thunder from that. The Maypearl area, you're getting some rain from this. I don't see anything severe for your area. Rain, lightning, thunder probably there. Probably a lot more noise than anything else, I think, in Maypearl right now, but not a whole lot happening there. Just getting kind of the outskirts of this last cluster in Johnson County here. So Johnson County getting plenty of noise and getting plenty of impact from all of this. And I just want to make sure that let me see here. Let me just check a couple of other sources of information. Okay. All right, so yeah, nothing new there. This cluster has been showing, at least from what I can tell, signs of weakening, more rain than anything else. Pretty persistent hail core, pretty persistent hail threat, far southwestern Johnson County here. So moving out of Glen Rose. Oh, wow. Guess the camera decided to act like it hadn't been looking at me all night. There we go. Yeah, the camera will it'll automatically focus if I don't tell it not to. So I had to turn the automatic part of that off. for that. So I apologize for the sudden. You weren't losing your sight. It was just just the camera deciding to go rogue there for a second. So yeah, this is what we're looking at hail-wise. Could be some hail east of Cleburne, also west of Cleburne. A little bit of that towards Godley there maybe. Let's take a look here. So not really hail for Alvarado west of there. So more towards Keene and Cleburne. That's kind of what we're looking at for that area. So that's what we're watching there. Let me just check one more thing in terms of Alvarado. Speaking of that, there's a Twitter account there. Sometimes I can. Okay. All right. So, yeah, nothing really there. But in the Keene area to Cleburne, that's where we're looking at one of those little hail cores. Not too terribly impressive there. Another, again, outside of Cleburne on the 67, kind of the bypass there. That's where you're looking at another area of hail. Could be one, again, back towards Godley. Just a small area there. Really, the only large area of hail is from eastern portions of Somervell County, far southwestern Johnson County, far northern portions of Bosque County there. Not much going on in Blooming Grove right now. Still a bit of a lightning threat there, just generally, but not really looking at anything new moving into the Blooming Grove area. You still need to be careful again with that lightning, but yeah, that's going to be the Blooming Grove area. Things have mostly cleared out of that area right now. So if you need to go out and look for the damage out there, I know that emergency management has crews out. The sheriff's office is out looking for that damage as well. So the Blooming Grove area should be okay to, if you need to do that necessary work of getting out looking for those areas of damage, then you should be good to go there. So the forecast for Palmer, things should stay cool. Don't say the Q word, calm, the rest of the night. And we could be doing this all over again tomorrow. There's another chance for strong to severe thunderstorms tomorrow afternoon and evening. So I will be monitoring that, of course. The way that's probably going to go is I'm probably going to get up and we'll do the morning stuff, the morning forecast video, and then the forecast video may be a little later. I may give a little time for that forecast to refine too. And then, like I said, I'll probably take the family out for breakfast, have a nice breakfast out, and then come back, and we may be doing this all over again tomorrow night. So be prepared for storms tomorrow night, Tuesday night, and then things finally quit, at least for a while. And we're in the triple digits by Thursday, Friday. So not too great a situation there. Rice looks calm as well. Really, if you're east of Waxahachie and Corsicana here, you're pretty much done. I mean, there's really nothing moving through that area. The last of this is going to be this complex. It's all kind of coming together in Johnson County here. That'll be the last of this. And as the more I look at this, we could be looking at more impacts in western Ellis County if this continues to kind of build. We'll talk about, I'm seeing one town after another come up. We'll talk about the whole area here in just a moment. We need to talk about Johnson County because this storm, it is growing here. Everything is kind of coming together, filling in gaps. So that will continue to move on to the southeast. That could impact western portions of Ellis County from Midlothian down to Maypearl, possibly portions of Waxahachie. Could be hitting Italy later. This could hit western portions of Navarro County eventually, and then of course that will be moving into northern Hill County over the next several minutes as well. And this storm in the Itasca area looks like it's kind of getting a little bit of a push here. So you mentioned Covington. That's what we're looking at, just moving into the Covington area now. Heavy rain, going to be plenty of lightning and thunder with that as well. So the storm in southern Hill County is still hanging out there. This is just not really moving that fast. So still plenty of a hail threat moving towards the Mount Calm area here. So Let me see here. Okay, yeah, so the last, and really for the whole area, we have the last two severe thunderstorm warnings in our area. So, um, and okay, so let me address the lightning and thunder for everybody just a moment because I'm hearing everybody is talking so much about it in portions of eastern Ellis and Navarro counties. The lightning and thunder that you're going to see is from these storms most likely. Okay, now you can have lightning and thunder 30 miles outside of a storm. So if you're 30 miles away from a storm, it's possible to get lightning and thunder there. It's also dark, which means that you're going to be seeing lightning from a farther distance, and thunder is also going to travel better because the air is thinner. Okay, so that's just the fact of the matter of that is the air is thinner, and you're going to get that you're going to get that effect there. It's just so the fact that you're getting lightning or thunder, and again, you can look at the radar only stream if you want to see the radar in the whole area and not see me bouncing around. You can watch that. There's nothing moving into those areas right now along I-45. So just understand that though lightning and thunder are reaching your area better, it's because it's dark, so lightning is going to travel farther, the light is going to go farther, and the thunder is going to travel farther as well because the air is thinner at night. So just understand that's just kind of where things are in terms of why you're seeing lightning and thunder. Now, in Midlothian, you're much closer to a storm. There's a storm right next door. So obviously that makes, makes more sense. But just because you're seeing lightning getting thunder does not necessarily mean that a storm is moving your way. The Alvarado area, you're still getting some heavy rain, lightning, and thunder from that storm there as well. So that's, you're still getting that storm. You should be calming down though over the next several minutes here as you're kind of on the backside of the heaviest part of all of this. Let me reach down and grab something here. Move that out of the way there. And the puppy the dog, she is very happy to just be chilling. She, like I said, she found the comfy bed. She found the comfortable spot in this room, so she's happy. She's set. I think she was probably tired of all the. She doesn't like the thunder, but yeah, I'm pretty sure she doesn't care now. She's happy. Thank you for. I need to remember that info. Teach the kids during the weather unit. So Chloe and I'm almost as many schools as I went to. I'm scared to almost say this, but I do visit schools. And I know that most of the schools did the weather unit in February, March. So if you would like for me to come talk to your class, then we can make that happen. Obviously, school's out now, but the next year we can start making that happen. And I was barnstorming schools. I was probably doing 2 or 3 schools a week at one point. And Matt went to 1 or 2 of those with me as well. He listened. He didn't present, but doing those schools, it's fun, but man, it is exhausting. So we'll be, I'm sure I'll be doing that again this next school year. So that is definitely something we can do. So just, when we get closer to that time, send me an email. And I'm probably going to let my wife organize those because I was losing, I was losing track of them all. I double scheduled probably 2 or 3 of them. Okay, so I see someone sent a message about sponsorship. We'll talk about that. I'll be happy to talk to you about that tomorrow. So we'll have that conversation then. Okay, and you. If you're watching the stream now, you may not have heard the apology for how how loud that bottle is. Let me just send a message here. And you know, I have full disclosure here, a little bit of vulnerability, but um, I've apparently developed plantar fasciitis in my feet, and I've been wondering how much longer I'm going to be able to do this standing up thing, or if I'm going to have to go back to the sitting down stuff, which I don't want to do. But you know, hey, I mean, it's possible that could happen. So, um, you know, we'll fight that as it comes. But I mean, you know, it's been almost we're right around 3.5 hours here at this point. So, uh, you know, we'll keep doing this as long as we can, and maybe I just need to get some nice. I mean, I've got some memory foam shoes I should probably be wearing right now, but you know, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. The storm in, let me edge this over a little bit and realize we were not showing half of it. This storm in Johnson County is really going to be the last for our area. Now, there's this business down in Southern Hill County. It's just hanging on to Hill County here, but most of this is get a higher director chair. Well, that's possible. And okay, um, a message of flood advisory is coming for Johnson County. Great, that's awesome. I love that because there's just too much rain in Johnson County right now. I mean, my gosh, look at that, too much rain in Johnson County. So that flood advisory will be coming out, and let's check on the hail probabilities here. Yeah, okay, well, far southwestern Johnson County, going to be moving towards the Blum area. Nice big hail core there. Look at that. My word. I mean, that's just excessive, right? Could be a little bit of hail here near Itasca, but the rest of this is just rain. Plenty of lightning and thunder here, obviously, as you can see, but most of that's just going to be rain here over the course of the next, you know, several minutes that this storm is around. As we put this into motion here, it's grown in size, but I don't think this part of the storm has grown in intensity over the last few minutes. All the intensity is right down in the far southwestern portions of Johnson County. That's where that big hail threat is, where the hail core is, rather. So, and I'm not seeing or hearing anything outside of my window. Sorry, Matt, did you have something? Okay, I just heard something there. Um, Yeah, so you know, Johnson County Emergency Management has a good point here. They just posted, if your house is struck by lightning, check the attic and call the fire department if you smell smoke. So a great thing there from Johnson County Emergency Management. You know, that little piece of advice. Obviously, do so safely. You know, but if a lightning strike hits your house, you want to check that attic if you safely can do so. And if you smell smoke, go ahead and call that fire department, of course, to let them get on that. But as this storm moves south, this is all we've got left. Now, again, the Venus area over towards Midlothian could be looking at some rain moving through there. But, you know, I think as far as eastern Johnson County, western Ellis County, this is all going to be rain. I think we're mostly done with the hail. There could be some small hail around Itasca right now. But I think for the most part, we're going to be done with the hail in the eastern Johnson, western Ellis County area for the storm that could be moving through there. Hail continues, though, far southwestern Johnson County. So this part of the storm here that just moved through Glen Rose, not giving up. That's going to be moving into Blum. So that'll be kind of our last big hail threat that moves through the South Metro area. Obviously, far southern Hill County still dealing with some hail right now as that storm slowly but surely moves southward into Limestone and McLennan counties there. But as this continues to move into northern Hill County, that hail threat does continue. And we'll get back to that screen, actually. That's not what I wanted to do. Zoom back in. And if you look at that, that's growing for sure. So this storm looks to be, at least this section of it looks to be strengthening. That's going to be moving towards Blum, could be moving towards Hillsborough in the next several minutes. So just bear in mind, man, I don't know what's going on in northern Hill County, but still plenty of lift there for that storm. And if we put this into motion again, let's take a look here. looks like an outflow boundary possibly coming out here. So that could be a sign of weakening to come from that storm. Outflow boundary definitely picking up the pace there. And looks like we could be looking at some increasing winds going into Blum as well. That could, yeah, so we've got some strengthening winds out of this storm. So what I'm guessing that we're looking at here, with an increasing hail threat and increasing winds, we're probably going to be looking at the core of this storm falling out, and that will lead to the storm eventually weakening. I'm sure it'll probably be on a weakening trend pretty soon as it gets closer to Hillsborough. But that storm continuing to show us and demonstrate the strengthening for now, but I do think we will see that weakening over the next several minutes over northwestern Hill County, southwestern Johnson County over the next several minutes. So that will probably be the earliest signs of what we're going to be looking at. All right, so let's just take one more look at the. I want to watch the hail core as this updates. It may be a few minutes before this happens, but this is the screen where we look at not only the heaviest rain, but also we look to see where the hail is most likely falling. And obviously you can see all the gray here. That's all your hail from far. This is Bosque County, Hill County, Johnson County. So right where all of those come together is where we're seeing the strongest hail at the moment. Okay. Yeah, I want to see what this does when it updates. And like I say, it may be a minute because sometimes when, it'll read the radar and then it's got to essentially interpret all that data. So sometimes that's why these products take a little bit longer. So I can tell you again, for Ellis County, western Ellis County, there is some heavier rain coming in for the Maypearl area, possibly western Waxahachie there. So it could be another round of some heavier rain there. Looks like possibly still some small hail around Itasca, and then far western portions of Johnson and Hill counties affected by this stronger storm. The storm, the National Weather Service saying the storm near Blum has weakened a bit, still producing severe hail, frequent lightning, and heavy rain. So the storm does, at least as far as the National Weather Service, their radar products are ahead of mine. And if they're saying that it looks like it's weakening at this point, I'm going to assume that my assumption was probably correct in that we are seeing the core of that storm dropping out. And, that's where you have all of the hail and all of the cool air and all of everything in the middle of that storm that drops out. And then eventually the rest of the storm kind of caves in with it. So I'm pretty sure we're probably seeing that happening because as we continue to lose daytime heating, you're losing that lift. So it's no longer able to maintain that lift and no longer able to maintain that storm core. That's going to fall through because gravity is going to do what it does. That's going to fall through, and then after that, you're probably done. So hopefully this will that will probably end up weakening over the next several minutes here. So I'm going to go ahead, we're going to wrap up the stream here just because I've got to be able to give myself a breather. I'm going to continue to post updates about this storm in far southern Johnson County, northern Hill County. I do think it's on a weakening trend, so I think that we will see, as it continues to move into northern Hill County, I think we will see that weakening trend continue. But stay tuned to South Metro Weather on Facebook and Twitter for those continued updates. And then continue to follow for updates tomorrow on tomorrow's chance for severe weather, Tuesday's chance. Wednesday looks calm. And then the 3 days after that, we're back in the triple digits for summer. Stay tuned to Facebook and Twitter for those continuing updates.